Okay, so we are back with the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. But so the Chronicles has both games in it. So I guess there's a sequel to the Great Ace. Oh, I need to turn the game sound on, I guess. So I think the first one is called the Great Ace Attorney Adventure. We're just gonna go ahead and continue. So last time we left off, I was in Kazuma's cabin talking to Herlock Sholmes. So we're just gonna continue that. Can we talk about your deduction before? The things you concluded about me, I mean? Ah, the now famously accurate, troubling predicament you find yourself in. Actually, it was the other details that I was more hoping to discuss. You know, the merciless Russian revolutionary and assassin of 16 part? Yes, the more sordid details. It was a fairly commonplace deduction. Oh, okay. Here we have this morning's paper. The main headline reads, Revolutionary violin Bolshevik flees Russia via Shanghai. This vessel made a port call at Shanghai yesterday. And last night, the young Russian was murdered. Since when was Kazuma a Russian? It sounds like Mr. Sholmes has concluded he was Russian because of what Kazuma-sama wrote on the floor. I guess so. It was a simple act of reasoning to realize that the culprit of this crime was the same merciless revolutionary. One who would kill the very man who helped him escape after his true identity was discovered. Yes, you, violin Bolshevik. No, how could it be me? I don't look anything like this man, just look at his face. Well, you are a fearsome revolutionary after all. Therefore, you have no doubt learnt to revolutionize your appearance as well. Oh, please. And, I might add, your name does not appear on the ship's passenger list. Need I say more? Yeah, I was a stowaway, I guess that's right. Well, that's because I'm a stowaway, that's what I said. What about the other details? The 16 victims of assassination and blowing up the Crystal Tower? Ah, yes, the journalist clearly interviewed the man and printed all those particulars in the article. The deeds this man has perpetrated thus far, and those he is plotting. Yes, everything about this revolutionary Bolshevik was included. There can be no mistake. Do revolutionaries usually agree to interviews with newspaper reporters, I wonder? And what about the part where you said I was just returning from Afghanistan? Also quite clearly stated here in the article. Bolshevik is recently returned after a period of subversive activities in a war-torn region of Afghanistan. Where even is it anyway? This Afghanistan place. Here, take the paper for yourself, as a little memento of this great deduction. Oh, thank you. I've absorbed all that is of interest to me within its pages, but I see no rubbish bin nearby. The article about the revolutionary has been entered into the court record. An article on the front page of a Russian newspaper. The headline reads, Revolutionary violin Bolshevik flees Russia via Shanghai. And you may find the article on the back page of interest as well. On the back? Cast your eye over it sometime if the interest takes you, but you may need someone to interpret. It's all written in Russian. I couldn't hope to read it. But I suppose it wouldn't hurt just to glance at the article. Maybe there might be a picture or two. Okay, let's look at the article. So... Wait, does that mean Herlock Sholmes can read this? Because the front is in Russian too. But he just told me what it said, I think. I'm afraid I can't read a word of Russian. No, me neither. I have no idea what any of this says. The pair of you floundering is a sorry sight. Allow me to offer some assistance. The article on the front page of this newspaper is concerned with a fearsome Russian revolutionary. It reads, "Revolutionary violent Bolshevik flees Russia via Shanghai." Yes, you told us that before. It reveals also that those who see the man's beard with their own eyes never lived to tell the tale. Oh my goodness, he is fearsome. Well, presumably the newspaper photographer was alright, wasn't he? I guess that's true. But then again, we don't know what happened to the photographer. The solution is obvious, of course. If he despises his beard to that degree, he need only shave it off. What? I'm not quite sure that's the problem, Mr. Sholmes. Yeah, me neither. Okay, on the back. Okay, he said that the back would be of interest to me. This is interesting. Have you found something relevant, Naruhodo-san? Well, no, I mean, it looks like it might be interesting. I can't read a single word, I'm afraid. No, nor can I. But look at this picture. Perhaps it's about a beautiful young Russian princess, do you think? She's very pretty, isn't she? I suppose you enjoy articles like this, do you? I don't know, I can't make any sense of it. Ah, I'm glad you've noticed this article. You literally told me to look at it. Allow me to give you a short summary of its contents. Oh, thank you. He pops up everywhere, this Mr. Sholmes. It's about the disappearance of a young lady last night. Renowned prima ballerina of the Novovich Ballet disappears from Shanghai. During a performance in Shanghai, the famous dancer was reported missing. She is, of course, the talented young Nikolina Pavlova. Why are Russian names so hard to remember? It would appear the woman was in costume when she was found to be missing from her dressing room, wearing the diamond tiara you see pictured, which is worth some 20,000 rubles. Oh, how much is 20,000 rubles? I have no idea, but I'm quite sure it must be an unbelievable sum of money. Susato-san's eyes are shining like diamonds themselves. The tiara is the property of the Novovich Ballet. It would seem the director is beside herself with worry. Yes, I'm not surprised. The company is most anxious to recover both Miss Pavlova and the valuable tiara. They requested international assistance at all ports with sailings to Great Britain. Could this be another case of a Russian fleeing his or her country? It does seem to be the Russian thing to do. I'm not even going to dignify that with a response, Mr. Naruhodo. Okay, so we got the article about the ballerina. I'm sure that will come into play at some point. Because, I mean, why even put it in here if it wasn't important? Okay, now we can ask him this last thing. Before we started talking, you were examining Kazuma's desk, weren't you? Kazuma? Oh yes, the victim. Did you notice anything useful? Anything at all? Observe for a moment the desktop of the victim. We see that the victim was engaged in penning some text. London diary. Kazuma was keeping notes of the trip. Ah, but I don't think you should read his private writings. It could upset people. Tragic. And something you ought to perhaps elucidate before the act of reading. You mean you've read it already? It is my business to know what other people do not. Yes, believe it or not, I know a smattering of Japanese. Well, doesn't he have to know Japanese to be talking to Rinosuke and Susato? Because they don't know English. Oh, I see. Well, you're about to know what a Susato takedown is. Susato-san? Are you going to throw the detective with one of your trademark takedowns? I'm sorry, Naruhodo-san. What on earth do you mean? Life is so unfair. Anyway, to return to the matter at hand. Namely, this diary belonging to the victim. It would appear the final sentence is incomplete, as if the author were cut short. Yeah, that part we figured out. Tell me, what is the nature of the writing? Pray be precise as to details. Oh, but I thought you knew Japanese? He said he only knew a little. A smattering, dear boy, a smattering. That's what I said. Sayonara, bonsai, mikado, nado. I trust you're suitably impressed. Ha. But this diary is littered with complicated-looking characters, of which I can read precisely none. Okay, so he knows a few Japanese words, and he can't read any Japanese. So what was all that showing off about before then? If you would be so kind as to show me, I would be happy to read it to you, Mr. Sholmes. Oh, now she's going to read it when she gave me a huge lecture on not reading it? I'm much obliged, my dear madam. The final entry here in Kazuma-sama's diary consists of just 2 short sentences. The first reads, 1:23 a.m. I can hear a faint whistling sound. A whistling sound? These are very deep waters. Pray, go on. The second sentence reads, 1:35 a.m. What looks like some sort of speckled band is dangling from the ventilator grill. A speckled band? What on earth does that mean? I have no idea. I've never heard that expression before. I don't think it's an expression. The ventilator grill, you say? The man was presumably referring to the lattice there on the wall, which connects to the adjoining cabin. Yes, the adjoining cabin. Kazuma's diary has been entered into the court record. A diary Kazuma was keeping of his trip to London. According to the last entry he made before his death, he spied what appeared to be a speckled band. So, I believe I've given you enough to consider for the time being, at least. Ah, do you have somewhere to go? As it happens, the victim's writings in his diary have piqued my interest. The matter warrants further investigation, I believe. Well, yeah, because we haven't solved the murder yet. And if I'm still too long, the seasickness takes hold. Oh, I suppose. You're thinking of investigating the cabin next door, which the ventilator connects to? Yeah, we should definitely do that. Great detectives are a curious breed. Our minds rebel at stagnation. We crave mental exaltation. So yes, I intend to investigate. Hence, the truth will become clear soon enough. Do you think perhaps that we could go with you? No, that would be somewhat complicated. What? But why? A simple glance at your wrist should reveal the answer. Oh, these. Right. I'm handcuffed. After all, you're the prime suspect in this matter, no? Right. There's no point in trying to turn it into a question. You're the one who decided I was the culprit in the first place. Whatever do you mean? I have no recollection of naming you as the culprit at any point. You must be joking. You just said it only a moment ago. Dear me, you are clearly misguided. I would have no cause to say such a thing. Well, actually, Mr. Sholmes, I did hear you say that too. You're quite sure? Well, that's very strange. I wouldn't have said you had the face of a criminal, you know? Not really. What? So what, were you looking at my knees before? Some great detective you are. Well, anyway, that was then and this is now. What do you mean? What I mean, sir, is this. If you are the culprit, then you must play the part more convincingly. Roll over and accept your fate. Ah ha 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 ha. Now he's just being plain rude. And off he goes, having just laughed in my face. His sense of humor is as twisted as his name. Naruhodo-san, what are you just standing there for? We must go and investigate the cabin next door as well. Aren't you forgetting something? What about these? There's no way I can... Oh, she took me down again. I mean, that seemed unnecessary. After Kazuma-sama spent his dying moments struggling to leave us a clue, you're willing to give up? You're just gonna roll over and accept your fate? Ugh. As if you gave me any choice in the rolling over part. I think we still have some investigation to finish off in here first, don't we? Let's carry on examining what we can in this cabin while we wait for a chance to slip next door. Good idea. The situation doesn't look good for me, but there are still things I can do to help myself. So you know who Sasato reminds me of is Maya from the Ace Attorney games, the Phoenix Wright games. Maya kind of dressed similarly, and they look a little bit similar. I mean, they're both like really young girls, like because Maya was really young too. She was like 16, and she kind of wore her hair similarly, like she wore her hair up. Well, it was like a half up, half down. But they behaved in similar ways too. And I owe it to Kazuma to do everything I can to find a way out of this and bring the real culprit to justice. Okay, so, I'm wondering... Okay, so let me look at this message he wrote. Okay, so apparently this says wardrobe in Russian. So Kazuma knew Russian, I guess a little bit, but I think that he wrote this. Okay, so I either think this was fake or he did write it, but he wrote wardrobe because he didn't want Ryanosuke to be locked in the wardrobe forever. So he wanted people to look in there and get Ryanosuke out. Or, well, Sherlock Sholmes said it was Russian and that it said wardrobe. But maybe he was wrong, because, I mean, he's been wrong about a lot of things. Also, I mean, did we ask one of the Russian sailors, like, what it says? Have we talked to this guy? I think we did try talking to him before, but he didn't want to talk to me. Oh, would you mind if I investigated a little outside? Grandmother told me Japanese people do not make jokes, but it is not true, I see. Oh, he said that before. The criminal asking prison guard to help him escape? Very funny. We're in the middle of the sea. There's no chance of me escaping. Niet! You stay in this cabin until next court, then it is up to Hong Kong police to decide what they do with you. You stay! Alright. There's no point in trying to appeal to this man's better nature, that's for sure. Alright, so... I'm gonna look at the diary. Okay, so we've just got the last two entries here. Some sort of speckled band. So I need to find a way out. So the bolt was... The bolt was done? I don't know how to say it exactly. The bolt was locked? The door was locked from the inside, basically. Okay, how do I get out of this room? That's my dinner from last night, a roast chicken. It was really tasty. Yes, it was very delicious, wasn't it? But did you eat it on the floor here? I'm not a dog, Sasato-san. I ate at the table, of course. Which begs the question of when and how did the plate end up on the floor? But Kazuma-sama didn't like chicken at all, did he? No, that's right. So he didn't touch it. Which meant all the more for me. Oh no, does that mean poor Kazuma-sama spent his last night on Earth with an empty belly? Okay, I don't know if that's what we should be concerned about right now. It's just too horrible. Now I suddenly have a guilty conscience and an achy stomach. Oh, somebody else came in. Oh, I guess you had to investigate everything, because I couldn't click on that before. Because I forget why, but like something was in the way and I couldn't click on it. So I guess you had to investigate everything and then something happens. Oh, look over there. The crewman, do you mean? He wasn't there before, was he? No, he just walked in. That's what I thought. Why don't we try talking to him? Probably because I'm likely to get yelled at again, but I suppose I could try. Is something wrong, Naruhado-san? Oh no, it's just that crewman standing by the door. I can't help feeling like I've seen him somewhere before. Oh yes, you're right. He does look familiar. Excuse me, sir. Yes? What can I do for you? What? Is that the detective? The guy that was the detective, but he was working undercover at the restaurant? That is him. I recognize that face, but it can't be. It is! I didn't know you were here, Inspector Hasanaga. Hello again. What are you doing here? I think that should be my line. I was so stunned when I saw you. My heart stopped. Nearly stopped, I hope. Yeah. Yeah, I guess if it stopped, then he would not be here talking to us right now. I received some special orders to go undercover as a member of the crew and board the ship. Oh, so I'm wondering if he's going to show up on every case now. So there was a detective Gumshoe. I think that was his name. And he was like really dumb, but I liked him. He did his best. Again? You certainly seem to enjoy undercover work, Inspector. If there's anything I can do to help you, please ask. I never expected to see this man on board, but perhaps his presence can help me out of this hopeless situation. Okay, let me look at people profiles. Okay, so we got Hasanaga here again. A chief inspector in the Imperial Police Bureau who's on an undercover mission, posing as a member of the ship's crew. Special orders. So what are your special orders this time, Inspector? Yes, and why are you dressed as a member of the crew? Because he's undercover. I thought we established this. I'm so sorry. This is all my fault. I take full responsibility. For what? My orders were to act as Asogi-san's bodyguard. What? It was Minister of Justice Jigoku who pushed for this overseas study tour to go ahead. And he entrusted me with ensuring that Asogi-san reached Great Britain without being assassinated. What? Okay, so the Prime Minister or whatever he was, the Minister of Justice, not the Prime Minister, Minister of Justice thought he would be assassinated? Assassinated? How could that have even been a possibility? I'm not sure. But these are complicated times. There are tensions between the world's greatest powers. Minister Jigoku said we should be prepared for all eventualities. This is incredible. I don't believe it. Kazuma-sama was assassinated? I guess so. Obviously, we can give Asogi-san a visible security escort. Which is why I'm undercover now, posing as one of the crew. I see. And I didn't take my eyes off him the entire time we've been on board, from morning until night, every day. But I never imagined it would happen here, inside his own cabin, not on the first-class deck. I failed miserably at my assignment, and Asogi-san is dead as a result. I'm a disgrace. All I can do is humbly apologize. Inspector, so if there's anything at all that I can do to help now, just say the word. Permission to investigate. We're doing what we can to investigate Kazuma's death ourselves. I thought you might be. You didn't do it, did you? You're not the killer? Of course not. We'd really like to investigate the cabin next door. Yes, so we need to be allowed out of this cabin. I'm sorry. What? You've been deemed a risk to the ship's safety. If you moved to even touch the handle of the cabin door, that stormy-looking seaman over there would surely snap your neck in two. I suppose I'm not just a stowaway now. They think I'm a murderer as well. Would it be possible to give me something to work with, do you think? I'm going to need something persuasive. What do you mean? Yeah, what do you mean? If I had a solid reason why the next door cabin should be investigated, for example, I'd do everything I could to persuade the captain to allow it. Really, I'd lay my life on the line if I had to. But I don't see how. There may be a way. What? Really? Think of how you try to persuade me of your innocence, Naruhodo-san. Present evidence. Ah, yeah. By presenting me with a piece of evidence that you already had in your possession. Evidence? It's just the same as when you're in court. You must have done it many times during your trial. Simply select the present panel and choose some evidence that Inspector Hosonaga could use. So, evidence that would give us a viable reason to investigate the next door cabin, is it? Alright, yes. I think I might not know what we can use. Let's see if I can present the detective with the evidence he needs to persuade the captain. Okay, so I think it's the journal or the diary. Because he wrote what looks like some sort of speckled band is dangling from the ventilator grill, and we know the ventilator connects to the next cabin. Yeah, and I mean, none of these other things would fit. Okay, but before I present that, I'm going to be right back. Losing some energy. So I'm gonna make myself some G Fuel and I'll be right back. Okay, so I got some G Fuel. Hopefully that'll help. Because I'm just like, got really tired and... Also, like, having to read everything out loud, like, kills my voice, so that makes me tired too. But these games are so good. Okay, so I'm gonna try presenting the diary. Who do I who do I present it to? Oh, I have to present. Okay, so it's a different option. What's that? It's Kazuma's diary. Just before he died, Kazuma-sama wrote something rather strange in his diary. Strange? In what way? He wrote, what looks to be like some kind of speckled band is dangling from the ventilator grill. A speckled band? That is strange. Yes, we're still trying to work out what he meant by that. But what I'd like to know is... Don't tell me. The ventilator, is it? You're very astute, Inspector. I should hope so, as a detective. That ventilator clearly joins to the next door cabin. That's right. So if we could investigate in there, we might be able to work out what the speckled band was. Alright then. I can't leave this cabin at the moment. I'm stuck here until we arrive at the next port. The captain has given me strict orders to guard the scene of the crime, you see. I'll have to entrust the investigation to you. Really? You're willing to do that? Yes, as long as you don't leave the first-class cabin area. I'm afraid I can't remove those handcuffs, though. But what about the captain? Aren't you going against his direct orders? I'm a man of my word. And I promise you that I'll lay my life on the line if that's what it takes to convince the captain. After all, I failed to keep Asogi-san safe. This is the least I can do. Thank you. Let's seize the moment then, Naruhodo-san. Just select move and we can leave this cabin at last. Move. Alright, let's see what we can find out. Move. A cabin on the SS Buria and the scene of the crime. Kazuma was occupying this cabin for the voyage to Britain along with me as a stowaway. The passage that connects to the first-class cabins on the SS Buria. First and foremost, we must get out of this cabin. 9th January, 7:48 a.m. SS Buria, first class. First-class cabin passageway. Ooh, I'm finally out of that cabin. I have to admit, this isn't quite what I was expecting. It's less spacious out here than I thought it would be, and this is the most luxurious accommodation. Wow, I can't believe he was stuck in that room for 2 weeks, and then, I mean, they said, what, the voyage takes 50 days? So he's gonna have to spend 50 days in, like, a little room? Like, I couldn't even imagine being confined to, like, one room for 50 days. Yes, indeed. Kazuma-sama was being sent on the study tour by the government. That's why he was being put up in a first-class cabin. Even still, this is about twice as large as my accommodation in steerage. Really? That must be awful. Oh, look over there. That's another crewman keeping watch, and he looks enormous, even if he is sitting down. Yeah, he does, and if you look over here, his belly is showing. The door next to him leads to the second-class accommodation. I suppose he's making sure that no one comes in here who shouldn't. I suppose. Like people in handcuffs. Naruhodo-san, you look like a little boy visiting a toy shop for the first time. I would have thought you'd be used to the ship by now. We've been at sea for 2 weeks already. Well, yes, I know. But the thing is, I was inside Kazuma's trunk when I first came aboard, and ever since then, I've been shut up inside that little wardrobe. It must have been a very trying time for you. Please don't give me that pitying look. Okay, so I guess we could examine the passageway. This looks like a plan of the SS Buria. It shows each deck. Look. The Buria is a large-scale steamship with a triple-skinned hull. What a marvel of engineering. Well, it's been playing on my mind for a while now, actually, but how is it that such a huge lump of metal doesn't just sink to the bottom of the ocean? With engineering. Oh, that's really quite simple, Naruhodo-san. It is? Well, consider the Japanese archipelago. The islands of Japan? Yes, they're not metal, but they are enormous lumps of earth, many, many times larger than the ship. And they don't sink, do they? They've been floating happily on the sea since the gods created them. Okay, yes. Well, I suppose so. It's a huge book on top of the table there, and there's a pen next to it. Yes, that looks like the ship's log. Shall we have a little look through it? So we can just go and take it in front of that sailor? The writing is so neat and precise. Every detail about the voyage has been meticulously recorded. You wouldn't expect a rough and ready sailor to have such beautiful handwriting. And nothing. No reaction at all. I thought he might appreciate the compliment. How do we know that it's that sailor that wrote it? I'm not sure that rough and ready is much of a compliment, Naruhodo-san, even to a sailor. Anyway, last night's log is mostly blank. Presumably that means there was nothing to report. Guess we could talk to this guy. Excuse me, but could I ask you something? You little stowaway murderer? Wow, so he, like, I guess he speaks perfect Japanese. That wasn't a good start, was it? No, it wasn't. Alright, let me try instead. Good day, Mr. Sailor. I'm so sorry to trouble you, but could I perhaps ask something of you? You little third-class ladies' maid? So did he not have to use the restroom during those 2 weeks? Yeah, I don't know. I guess maybe... I mean, well, this was at the time of, like, at the end of, like, feudal Japan. I don't know. Did they have, like, bathrooms on ships back then? I have no idea. I mean, maybe, like, there was, like, a bucket in the room or something? I don't know. And then Kazuma would, like, take it out. Oh. We seem to have caught this sailor on a bad day, Sasudo-san. I am not sailor. My mother gave me name. I am senior crewman Biff Stroganov. Woo, the best thing is just to avoid eye contact, I think. First class cabin area. Mr. Stroganov, about this first class cabin area. Here we are in finest part of Buria steamship. For very important persons. What sort of very important persons? Government officials, kings and queens traveling in secret, many important persons. That is why I am always guarding this place. Gosh, that's amazing. But somehow I let stupid stowaway inside. I want to pick you up and throw you in ocean, but Stroganov is not animal. Thank you? Okay. If I may, I was wondering... Gross, yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't want to live back in those days. Is the cabin next door to Mr. Asogi's currently occupied? Da. Susato-san, did you understand that? It sounded like da. I think it's probably Russian for yes, or no. Genius. It is not permitted to visit other cabins without invitation. Well, it sounds like there's somebody in the next door cabin at least. Yes, it's tantalizing. Passenger in the next door cabin. Could you tell us who's traveling in the cabin next to Mr. Asogi's? His name is Mr. Grimesby Roylott. He is a very important Western gentleman. A Western gentleman. Do not think about it. He has nothing to do with murder of student boy. How do we know? That's why we need to investigate. How can you be so sure about that? That's what I said. That's what I said. Mr. Roylott is authentic Western gentleman. Such a man would have no interest in lowly student from insignificant Far East Islands. That was harsh. That was. Could you tell us when Mr. Roylott came aboard? That is not your business. Come to think of it, even though we've been at sea for 2 weeks now, and I've been in Kazuma's cabin the entire time, I've never once heard anything from the next door cabin, or even felt like there's anyone there. Well, presumably, since this gentleman is occupying one of the first-class cabins, he must be rather important. Have you played this before? Is it your first time? This is my first time playing these games, but I played the Phoenix Wright games a long time ago. But I did play them. So I played Ace Attorney. I don't even remember what the other ones were called. Ace Attorney. Well, this one's the Great Ace Attorney, and then the Phoenix Wright. Okay, so Phoenix Wright, Ace Attorney, Phoenix Wright, Ace Attorney Justice for All, and Phoenix Wright, Ace Attorney Trials and Tribulations. I've played those. That is not your business. Are you on watch here all the time, Seaman Stroganov? Duh, all time. So criminals like you cannot come in, or get out. I wonder, could you tell us anything about last night at all? It is sad about Student Boy. Were you on watch last night as well? Of course. And did you notice anything at the time? Anything unusual? Hit! Susada-san, did you understand that? It was clearly a no. I saw nothing unusual. Nothing at all. And you didn't hear any strange noises or sense anything was wrong in some way? I said no! Sorry. I'm not so sure. I could have sworn that he wouldn't catch my eye for a moment there. I mean, he's not making eye contact anyway. This is enough. I cannot say more now. Oh. It is time for me to report to Captain. You must return to cabin. Yes, alright. Bulkhead to second-class area is staying locked at all times. You escape when the lobster whistles on top of the mountain. What? Or as the English say, when the pigs fly. Yes, I understand. Good, now we can investigate this area properly, shall we? Definitely. Okay, so... what? So he just, like, disappeared? Like, he just made this whole big deal about how he's always on guard, watching this door, and then he just, like, left? That's the way to the second-class area of the ship. Is something wrong? I was thinking about making a run for it, just for a moment. Things aren't exactly going well for me. I may be wrong, but I imagine the moment you reach for the handle of the door, that burly seaman would surely shoot you dead. So, okay, so he is around here somewhere. Oh dear, I'm sorry. Perhaps I went a little too far there. No, I started with my talk of running away. I mean, where are you gonna run? You're on a boat. And there's no way I could run away while Kazuma's death remains a mystery anyway. And also while you're on a boat in the middle of the ocean. Oh, what's this? Ah, a trap for catching mice. Yes, we have plenty of those back home in Japan. Although they seem to be using a lump of chalk or something as bait. That's very suspicious. Let me see. Yes, I think that's what it is called, cheese. It's made from the milk of cows. Oh, they didn't have cheese in Japan back then? Cheese? I wonder what that tastes like. Cheese tastes amazing. You can't eat it, Naruhodo-san. The trap will snap shut on your fingers. Really? But... I suppose you're right. You weren't actually going to try it, were you? All I've had to eat for the past couple of weeks is Kazuma's leftovers. You don't know how hungry I've been in that wardrobe. For you. I'll find a little snack for you later. Okay, I have a feeling that the mousetrap is going to come into play at some point. Because that's... like, why would it be there? What do you think this is? It's a very pleasing shape, isn't it? That's the emergency alarm. It's probably best not to touch it. Oh, an alarm. It says, press only in times of emergency. Looks as though it sets alarm bells ringing all over the ship and brings the vessel to a complete stop. Oh, this I have to see. What? Was he trying to go ring the alarm? There's no way. There's no way what? Check that book log. What book log? What are you doing, Naruhodo-san? You mustn't touch it. But this is an emergency situation. Just look at these handcuffs. You know full well that's not what the alarm is for. If you were to bring this vessel to a standstill for no good reason, you'd be in an even worse situation. Ha! I wish everything would just stop. The ship included. If you have to do something foolish, at least make it something that doesn't affect anyone else. I've checked this already. Oh. Wait a minute. Maybe I didn't. I mean, well, I did look at it before, but when the sailor was there. So I guess I look at it again, because I think before it didn't say there's a pen with it too. That book on top of the table really, it really is huge. There's a pen with it too. Yes, I'm sure that's the ship's log. Shall we have a little look through it? Oh yeah, I did check this. And it said that last night, it said last night there was nothing unusual. This is it. This is the cabin next to ours. The one the ventilator connects to. Yes, the ventilator from which Kazuma-sama wrote that he saw a speckled band emerging. Maybe whoever's in this cabin can help solve that particular mystery. Let's ask. Knock, knock. There's no way he didn't know what cheese is. I mean, I know this takes place at, like, the end of feudal Japan, and it was when Japan was just starting to get industrialized. So, but I don't know. I feel like they would have had cheese back then. Like, I mean, like, dairy in general is not, like, a big part of Asian cuisine. But, I mean, now I think Japan has a lot of cheese. They certainly have a lot of, like, milk teas and, like bread with cheese inside them. Like cheese pastries. And cream cheese. They use a lot of cream cheese. No answer. We're out of luck, it seems. There's no one in there to help with our inquiries. How annoying. Oh, somebody's screaming in there. What was that? It came from inside the cabin. Such a high-pitched scream. It must have been a woman. Stand aside. What? Where did you come from? I'm about to break the door down. Mr. Sholmes! I shan't be stopped. When the fit is on me, I revel in kicking doors off their hinges. What? When the fit is on me? What does that mean? Please, wait, Mr. Sholmes. The door doesn't appear to be bolted. It doesn't? Then how the deuce can I dispatch this muscular urd? What prey can I kick? I think we should go in. There's no time to think about stress relief. 9th January, SS Buria, first class cabin. Number 2. Who's that? Who are you? Who are you? A Western gentleman? This man looks Russian to me. We heard a woman scream. A woman? Don't be absurd. As you can see, there's nobody but me in this cabin. True, this old man does appear to be the only person in here. But in that case, who just screamed? Get out, all of you, now! Please excuse the intrusion, but you're Mr. Grimesby Roylott, I believe? Yes, that's me. And you are... I'm the one and only, the actual Herlock Sholmes. You've heard of me, no doubt? No. I'm a great detective among great detectives. One who adorns the covers of popular magazines, no less. But I assure you, you may trust me completely. The man uses that magazine like a business card. I guess it is kind of his business card. A detective? I do not trust detectives. Then who can you trust if you can't trust detectives? We distinctly heard a scream emanating from within these walls. But there wouldn't appear to be a lady concealing herself within the wardrobe this time. So might I be so bold as to ask you open that small traveling case? What? Don't be stupid. How could anyone fit in a small trunk like that? Well, it's quite fashionable these days, is it not? Traveling inside one's trunk? Don't look at me. Yeah, I mean, I didn't do it for the fashion. Okay, why is it moving? Oh my, did you see that, Mr. Naruhodo? Yes, the case just shook. Leave, now, otherwise I'll call the steward. So this is Kazuma's neighbor, Mr. Grimesby Roylott. Okay, did anyone else notice he's wearing mittens while holding scissors? Like, that seems really inefficient. There's no doubt about it. This strange Russian man is hiding something. I couldn't agree more. Let's see if we can find some clues before that burly sailor returns. Sholmes throwing shade. He always is. Okay, let's start on this side. Okay, nothing on the coat hooks. What do you think you're doing? Ah! This is my cabin. Get out! Can we just have a quick look inside your traveling case, perhaps? No! Ha. What a pity. I think we're out of luck. I think you're right. There doesn't appear to be anything more we can do. I agree, but there may be someone else who can help. Hosonaga. Perhaps that great detective could get somewhere with Mr. Roylott. Oh, I guess we're talking about Herlock Sholmes. Yo, he's hiding something in his pocket. The Russian guy? Oh, so I can't investigate anything. Oh yeah, he's got like a newspaper in there. Okay, so I think we gotta talk to Sholmes, because anything we investigate, we're gonna go through the same conversation. Do you have a moment, please, Mr. Sholmes? Only address me as Sholmes. That's what I just did, isn't it? No, you said Mr. Sholmes. Well, Mr. Sholmes, you did it again. What were you doing in there? Just hanging out, it looks like. Yeah, I did see that. Good eye. Or unless you played this before. Why, I was resting, of course. Resting? Indeed, I was contemplating our sea voyage from the confines of the wardrobe whilst waiting. Waiting for the inevitable time that you would need to call my great powers of detection into service. Oh, and it would seem that the hour is upon us now. The time has come. Am I mistaken? Well, no, actually, you're spot on for once. Well, why else would we be talking to him? Observe closely. Our Russian host in this cabin, Mr. Roylott, is clearly trying to hide something. And do you know what is the most effective weapon to use against a Russian hiding a secret? Why, the truth, of course. Though it should be pointed out that such methods are not exclusively for the Russians. Okay, then why did you say Russian specifically? Can you imagine how the Russian will react when the secret he guards so closely is exposed? Would you like to witness it? Yes, please. Oh, yes, please. That's what I said. Well then, what you are about to see may well astound you. For I am about to apply my great detective's greatly admired great deduction to the case. Okay, I'm ready. Could this man be a more hackneyed portrayal of a dubious Russian, I ask you? What? From time to time, it occurs to me. Is the fellow dubious on account of his Russianness, or Russian on his account of his dubiousness? What? Doesn't make any sense. I don't think you can gain a nationality based on how dubious you are. I really don't think either of those should be occurring to you, or anyone. That's right, and Mr. Sholmes. I know this man's beard and dark glasses are hard to ignore, especially on first meeting, but I once read, it is a capital mistake to theorize before you have all the evidence. It biases the judgment. I must have complete silence. What are you doing? Why are you peering at my face like that? Dubious indeed. He is quite dubious. Like, why are you wearing sunglasses inside? Ah, just as I thought. Yes, I have quite made up my mind now. There can be no other explanation that accommodates all the facts. Mr. Roylott, I have reached two incontrovertible conclusions. What do you mean? Number one, your true identity is that of a villain. Well, that's rude. Using those shears, you're about to end the existence of something most dear. Probably his beard. Are you not? Huh. And number two, the other conclusion I have drawn. So, is this guy the guy from the article? Violin Bolshevik? You are, at this very moment no less, in the midst of committing a most grievous crime. Beneath that beard, your mouth quivers with nervous tension as you realize you have been discovered. Does it not? Ark. Oh, Naruhodo-san. I never imagined I would witness one of Mr. Sholmes' great deductions with my own eyes. That was a great deduction? Nothing can deceive Mr. Sholmes. In a single glance, he can deduce all there is to know about a person. All there is to know? What? What ineffable twaddle. Ineffable twaddle, I like that. Oh yes, I've read about it countless times in the adventures of Herlock Sholmes. And now I've experienced the astonishing impact of his great deduction firsthand. This is like a dream come true. Something tells me that Herlock Sholmes is nowhere near as good as the character he is based on. I can hardly believe it, but all the color has drained from Mr. Roylott's face. It looks like somehow both of Mr. Sholmes' conclusions were right. How could I possibly know such things, you wish to say? Okay, wait a minute. So he guessed correctly about Roylott, but then he told me I was a Russian spy that killed 16 people? Very well then. I shall elucidate. I shall explain how it was that I arrived at this pair of conclusions. so do I cordially invite you upon a journey of logical discovery. Let us board the train of reasoning. Put plainly, let us work through my deductions together. Oh, a great deduction. The game is afoot. Old man's identity. So, the dubious-looking Russian, Mr. Roylott, obviously what catches the eye in the first place is the enormous pair of shears in your hand. Now we ask ourselves, what could you possibly want with such an implement? True, the Sherlock is more like a Fraudlock Holmes, right? The answer, of course, is staring us in the face. You are on the verge of using the shears to cut away the copious beard you sport. That's what I said, that he was going to cut off his beard. Now, moving on. The question then begged is this: why would you desire to rid yourself of this magnificent beard, Mr. Roylott? Once again, the answer is plain. We have clear evidence to shed light on the matter. Regard, if you will, this morning's newspaper. In particular, the fascinating front page article. Oh, that's what I said. He's the guy from the paper. Which it would appear you have read also, Mr. Roylott. I'm sure it needs no further clarification. The evidence that reveals your true identity is the article about the revolutionary. In translation, the headline reads, Revolutionary Violin Bolshevik flees Russia via Shanghai. As you cannot fail to observe, the subject of the article possesses an extremely copious beard. Having noted the article yourself, you decided to remove your incriminating facial hair before it gave you away. In short, your true identity is beyond doubt. I don't know if I'd go that far. I mean, it's suspicious, yeah, but beyond doubt, I wouldn't say that. You are the fearsome Russian revolutionary himself, Violin Bolshevik. Not that I've heard of you myself, you understand. A revolutionary on the run. Topic 2. Wrongdoing. I like this whole sequence. It's very dramatic. Now, as for my second conclusion, you are, at this very moment, on the brink of committing a most grievous crime. And the proof of this crime, over there. Oh yes, Mr. Roylott. Taken unawares, people have a propensity to let their eyes stray, you see. Ah. And I assure you, the eye speaks so much more eloquently and honestly than the mouth. What? You can't see his eyes. He's wearing sunglasses. Like dark sunglasses. The answer we seek lies where the furtive glance falls. The proof of your crime sits before our very eyes. Yes, that traveling case. Okay, I mean, I guess if he, like, looked all the way over there, yeah, I'd have to turn his head. But you can't see his actual eyes. It is time, I think, that the case be opened and its contents laid bare. No, I refuse! What could you possibly be concealing inside, we ask? By my estimation, a young lady, perhaps? One slight enough to fit therein? Don't be absurd. And what, pray, would be the identity of this young lady in the traveling case? Dear me, we are not well suited to a life of crime, are we? Your careless I don't know how to pronounce this. Doyle betrays you. Once again, we need only follow your furtive glance to find the answer. Yes, the reason you refuse to open your traveling case can equally be found in the pages of this newspaper. Oh, so he thinks it's the ballerina in there. Russian in the newspaper looks like Sacha Baron Cohen from the movie The Dictator. Oh, really? I've never seen that movie. For there's another most stimulating article. if we turn from the fleeting revolutionary to the back page. Renowned prima ballerina of the Novovich Ballet disappears from Shanghai. Such a headline can lead us to but one conclusion. Your crime is that of abduction. And according to the article, the young lady's name is Nikolina Pavlova. Kidnapping of a young ballerina. Thus concludes Herlock Sholm's great deduction of this Russian enigma. Elemensky! Elemensky. Instead of saying elementary, he says Elemensky. Susato-san, that wasn't one of the great deductions I've been hearing so much about, was it? Well, the stories are full of Mr. Sholm's brilliant deductions, you know. But that did seem a little different somehow. Excuse me, Mr. Sholmes, could you come over here a moment? Great, what can I do for you? It's about your deductions. Would you mind? Not at all, go on. Well, to start with, there's the newspaper article. I think we had the same discussion before, but these two men look nothing like each other. Ah yes, I recall our discussion earlier, and at the time I believe I told you that the man is a revolutionary, well able to revolutionize his own appearance. In fairness to Mr. Sholmes, Mr. Roylott does look more like this man than you do. That's not the point. Yeah, I didn't think that they looked much alike, but then I was like, maybe it's just the camera angle of the picture. And another thing, the part about him abducting the ballerina, indeed, a truly startling revelation. At first glance, the case would appear too small to accommodate a young woman. Not just at first glance, it is too small, clearly. You'd be lucky to fit a 5-year-old child in that case, even if you pushed really hard. I don't suppose the missing ballerina is a 5-year-old child, is she? You mean you don't know? No, the young lady is 15. No, I didn't know. How could I? Well, if she's 15, then 10 years worth of her will be poking out from the case. Some years ago, I read something pertinent, I believe. A troop of men consuming vinegar daily in order to promote a certain litheness in their bodies. Vinegar? For such a sour punch, it would surely be simplicity itself to contort oneself into the confines of that small case. I don't know about this. Oh dear, you may be thinking of contortionists in the circus, Mr. Sholmes. Ugh, this whole thing is turning into a circus. Mr. Naruhodo, something's occurred to me about Mr. Sholmes' deductions just now. I think his powers of observation are, well, magical. His eyes cut to the heart of a matter almost instantly. Wonder why the heart of a matter is orange. That must mean it's important. It's just where he directs his attention and logic that seems a little off. What? So how can he have great deductions, but he focuses his attention and logic on the wrong things? Your idea of a little may be a little off itself, Miss Susato. It's just one or two keywords in his deductions that seem to let him down. So I was wondering if we might perhaps tactfully switch them for alternatives. What do you think? Switch some keywords in his deductions? Yes, but very tactfully. I feel sure if we could do that, we'd unlock the true genius of Mr. Sholmes' great deduction. Oh, interesting. Very interesting. So it's like a word puzzle. Precisely the thought that was going through my own mind. This man is a lot of work. I did hear taking a shot of apple cider vinegar is supposed to be good for you. Oh, really? I mean, I know apple cider vinegar is supposed to be good for you in general. I don't know if I could take a shot of it, though. I give apple cider vinegar to my dog. I mean, not just like straight up, but like I mix it in a bone broth I make for him because it's supposed to be good for dogs too. At times I wonder how anyone puts up with me. Ah ha ha ha. It's not that funny. Ah, and you, my good fellow. Sorry. Take a moment to look at your wrists. My wrists? With the handcuffs? Oh, where are the handcuffs? Oh, where are your handcuffs? How did... I felt they may hinder your ability to follow me in our dance of deduction. I don't believe it. Wait, how did you take the handcuffs off without Ryanosuke not noticing? Mr. Sholmes, you are a marvel. And don't worry, I shall restore the shackles to your wrists when we are finished. I'm not worried. In fact, I'd rather stay like this. So, let us begin. Sherlock Sholmes is proud to present his Logic and Reasoning Spectacular. Alright. Okay, I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued by this new, I don't know what to call it. Puzzle. So, the dubious-looking Russian, Mr. Roylott. Obviously what catches the eye in the first place is the enormous pair of shears in your hand. Okay, so, but how do I correct? Now we ask ourselves, what could you possibly want with such an implement? The answer, of course, is staring us in the face. Okay. So first of all, I haven't saved in a while, so I'm gonna save. You were on the verge of using the shears to cut away the copious beard you sport. Oh, okay, so I guess this is... They automatically decide when I need to do a correction. I'm not sure. Would you really use shears like that to cut off a beard? I mean, if that was your only option. I mean, we're at sea, so he probably doesn't have a lot of options, but maybe it was wrong. I doubt that's something I'll ever have to worry about. It doesn't quite sit right with me, though. Doesn't seem to be sitting right with Mr. Roylott either. Which means, I suppose, that the deduction is wrong. Let's try to switch a key word here, Naruhodo-san, and see if it helps matters. Alright, but how? I think we should start by taking a long, hard look at Mr. Roylott. I wonder if it's really his beard that he intended to use those shears on. Exactly. If we do manage to find something that seems to fit the sense of Mr. Sholmes' deduction better, then what? Then I'll leave the rest in your capable hands, Naruhodo-san. Why am I the one to do something about this? Well, anyway, let's see if there's anything we could even use to switch around in that last sentence. What exactly was Mr. Roylott really going to use those enormous shears for? What was the old man really about to cut? So I guess I just click on whatever he was going to cut. I was actually thinking it was the newspaper he had. Like he was gonna cut an article out of the newspaper. He was going to clip his toenails with a pair of scissors. I don't know if that would be very effective. Maybe his like mustache or hat? Thick hat. Copious beard. Oh, coat buttons. Oh, I can turn this around. Oh, what is this? Golden locks? What? Okay, so it's got to be his hair back here. I didn't even know I could like turn around. I think it's this hair. Golden locks. Try turning around. Yeah, I did that accidentally, actually. I didn't realize you could do that. Okay, it's definitely this.
Yes!
You are on the verge of cutting off the copious golden locks. golden locks you sport. Hair, yes. Indeed, you have identified the precise detail I was intending to expose. Oh, really? Such lush golden hair certainly does not befit an old man. You're not a man at all, you're a woman. And judging by the length and sheen of your hair, one's still very much in her youth. Oh no. If only I had managed to cut off my hair, no one would have suspected. The question then begged is this: why would you desire to rid yourself of these magnificent locks? Once again, the answer is plain. We have clear evidence to shed light on the matter. I'm sure it needs no further clarification. The evidence that reveals your true identity is the article about the revolutionary. Oh, she's the ballerina. Well, that was a shock. I had no idea that old man was really a young woman in disguise. Did you? What? Why are you staring at me like that? Yes, it was a surprise, Naruhodo-san. You're enjoying this, aren't you? Sorry? You look like you're in your element as you dance around the room deducing the facts with Mr. Sholmes. I'm just doing what we agreed. I'm not having fun or anything. This is strictly business. Yes, I understand. Say no more. Well, anyway, let's focus on this next part of Mr. Sholmes' deduction, shall we? The evidence that he's picked out doesn't fit the facts at all now. No, that's true, given that Mr. Roylott is actually a woman. Exactly, he, or rather she, can't possibly be this merciless revolutionary. I suppose it's because the deduction as a whole has taken a different direction now. Yes. Let's switch the evidence for something else. Something that fits the facts as we now understand them. For some reason, this woman needed to try to hide her true identity. I feel as though I've either read or heard about a young woman in a situation like that recently. Alright, I'll do my best. You got it. I appreciate that. Okay, wait. Nina, present.
Yes!
The evidence that reveals your true identity is, of course, the article about the ballerina. That's right, you've hit the nail on the head. Renowned prima ballerina of the Novovich Ballet disappears from Shanghai. It would appear we are finally able to address you by your true name. Yes, because your true identity is that of the Novovich Ballet's prima ballerina. Miss Nikolina Pavlova. Those are some big scissors. So she wasn't kidnapped, she ran away. You're right. My real name is Nina. I mean Nikolina Pavlova. But please, I beg you, don't tell anyone. A ballerina on the run. Solved. Now, as for my second conclusion, you are, at this very moment, on the brink of committing a most grievous crime. And the proof of this crime? Over there. Oh yes, Miss Pavlova. Taken unawares, people have a propensity to let their eyes stray, you see. Ah, and I assure you the eye speaks so much more eloquently and honestly than the mouth. The answer we seek lies where the furtive glance falls. The proof of your crime sits before our very eyes. Yes, that traveling case. This woman is the ballerina, and she's right in front of our eyes. So clearly she can't be inside that traveling case as well. No, that's right. It seems she wasn't abducted at all. In which case, what is the crime this young woman is apparently committing? Ha, I can see I'm gonna have to step in and fix the great detective's mistake again. You seem to look pleased, Naruhodo-san. Do you like the idea of another chance to dance around with Mr. Sholmes? Stop it. Anyway, there must be something else here that shows what this woman is up to. Okay, what's this? Tiara. Traveling case. It's the tiara.
Yes!
The proof of your crime is surely this tiara. Ah! I believe this tiara is worn on stage by dancers in the Novovich Ballet, is it not? Indeed, it would appear to be identical to the tiara pictured here in this newspaper article. And if the reporting is to be believed, it's an item worth 20,000 rubles. In summary, the crime you have committed is theft. I mean, honestly, that was like pretty good. She like dressed up as a guy and took the tiara, and like nobody suspected until now. The only reason that we even found her is because Kazuma died and we were trying to investigate the next cabin. So if Kazuma hadn't died, she never would have been found out. She can't dance her way out of this. Get her, Rebecca. I appreciate that, T. That's true. She cannot dance her way out of this one. Oh no! Yes, you left your ballet troupe, unlawfully taking their precious tiara with you. Ah! She got some cool earrings. I like those. I have no one, no family, no friends. I'm all alone, and I need money. So you're like the star ballerina, but you didn't have any friends? I mean, I guess that could be true. Like, maybe she was the star, but like, just... I mean, it's possible to be like a big star and not have any friends. But I did not steal the tiara. It was a present from, how do you say, an Earl of Prussia. It belongs to me. This girl is only 15 years old, and she's run away all by herself. So... Wait a minute. So if it was yours, then why did you have to run away? She must have been extremely lonely. I mean, why did you have to like run away and disguise yourself? I like the hat, to be honest. Yeah, me too. It looks very warm. All right, I will tell you everything. There's no point in hiding it now. Okay, so before we do that, I'm gonna take a quick break and I'll be right back. Alright, I'm back and ready to hear her story. Come. Let us not be hasty. What? There remains one unsolved mystery about you. Mystery? Well, what do you mean? You have staunchly refused to open this traveling case of yours in our presence. It is reasonable to conclude that, therefore, that there exists some reason why you wish it to remain closed. And something moved inside it. Is that not so, Miss Pavlova? My dear girl, there's no sense in playing games with me. Nothing escapes my attention. Indeed, I have a very good idea of the contents of your case, even before I've ever laid eyes on them. Oh, really? Dear me, we are not well suited to a life of crime, are we? Your careless coupe d'oil... I still don't know how to pronounce that. Betrays you. And I took French in school. Once again, we need only follow your furtive glance to find the answer. Yes, the reason why you refuse to open your case is written in the books on the shelf. He's completely changed tack with his deduction now. I think Mr. Sholmes is adapting his logic to the changing circumstances, don't you? Maybe, but why has he suddenly brought the bookshelf into all this? It's just a wild guess, surely. Oh, do you think so? Well, it doesn't seem likely that the reason why this young woman doesn't want to open her case would have been written in a book that doesn't even belong to her. Yes, that's true, but still. Miss Pavlova certainly did cast her eyes in that direction. I noticed it myself. Then there has to be another reason why she won't open her case. And it must be somewhere in the same area if that's where her gaze was involuntarily drawn. I agree, that's the only answer. Whatever she has hidden inside that case should be revealed by following her gaze in the direction of the bookcase. Why won't she open her case? Books on the shelf. Small picture. Rules of passage. Can I read this? These are the rules of passage for travel aboard the SS Berea. Passengers must not keep weapons or other dangerous objects in their cabins. Pets are also strictly forbidden. Oh, she's got a pet in there. There was exactly the same notice in our cabin too. I wonder what happens if you break the rules. Oh dear, I'm sure the punishment would be severe, Naruhodo-san. That's why it moved. She's got an animal in there. You'd probably be left adrift in the freezing cold ocean, or shut inside a tiny wardrobe for days on end. So I've actually been serving time for weeks now, have I? Okay, well, I'm gonna go look at the picture. The rules, no pets. Everyone's gotta follow the rules. This is a charming little picture, isn't it? What is it? Someone climbing a steep mountainside? Or descending one, it seems to me? When you've been on the flat sea for a while, maybe you start seeing hills and mountains and everything. I mean, I don't really see anything in that picture, but that's okay. Ah, it looks like these are all the same books that we have in our cabin. Oh, they put books in there for them? I suppose the steward likes to make sure passengers have plenty to read for the long voyage. I mean, that's actually pretty nice. Get caught with a pet, get thrown overboard. I know, right? Like, that's what Sasudo is saying, but that seems pretty extreme. And have you noticed how all the books have fallen over, just like in Kazuma-sama's cabin? It's almost like someone's taken a sweep at them. Maybe Miss Pavlova, while she was practicing her ballet? Anyway, the point is, we don't have time to look through all these books at the moment. We couldn't even if we wanted to. They're all in Russian. Well, that's a relief. Let's try our luck elsewhere. Okay, so it's definitely this. She's got a pet in there.
Yes!
Yes, the reason why you refuse to open your case is written in the rules of passage. Passengers must not keep weapons or other dangerous objects in their cabins. Pets are also strictly forbidden. Inside that case of yours is something forbidden from carriage on this vessel. That is the real reason why you refuse to open it, thus revealing its contents. But it did move, so we already kind of know what's in it. Oh, it moved again. As we've seen, the trunk wobbles from time to time. But no weapon or other dangerous item would move of its own accord. I mean, if there's an animal in there, like, how can it even breathe? Which leaves but one possibility, Miss Pavlova, inside your traveling case. Oh, look at that teamwork. Is the last item listed as forbidden in the vessel's rules of passage a pet? Possession of a prohibited animal. Solved. Teamwork makes the dream work. Deduction complete. Elementary. Or as Sholm says, Elemensky. So clearly, you aren't who you said you were. That trunk has no air holes. Exactly. I know, right? Like, you just locked a poor animal in there without giving it a way to breathe. Maybe there's an air hole at the back. No, I am not Grimesby Roylott. My real name is Nikolina Pavlova. Everything you said was correct. Yeah, I think we already established that. You absconded during one of your ballet company's performances in order to escape your homeland. Later the same night, you stole aboard this vessel. Which couldn't have been easy. The Buria is a huge steamship with a vast crew. Could she really have snuck on board without being noticed? Wouldn't that be easier for her to sneak on board if it's a giant ship? And it's got a lot of people on it. In order to obscure your true identity, you somewhat recklessly took the guise of an old gentleman. And you intended to sever all links with your past by severing your long hair. Yet to a woman, hair is no trifling matter. My personal recommendation is to leave well alone. So, if it was just you about to cut off your own hair, who was it that let out the scream we heard from outside the cabin? That veritable tinkling of a bell? Well, why, none other than this young lady, naturally. The plot thickens. The plot thickens like a bowl of oatmeal. More like a full set of pipes, if you ask me. I was so scared when I ran away in Shanghai. I was sure they would come looking for me. That's why I decided to, how do you say, disgust myself? Yeah, I disgust myself all the time. So no one would recognize me. Must have had an accomplice. I don't know, I mean, if it's like a giant ship with a lot of people boarding, I think it would be easier for her to just sneak on board, like nobody would notice. As a result, you transformed yourself into that questionable old man? I see. I put on the fur hat and fake beard. Then, just before you came in here, I saw in the newspaper, right on the page, there was a picture of me. Well, yeah, you went missing. I was so frightened, I couldn't stop from screaming. I knew that if I didn't change my appearances completely, they would find me. So I decided to cut all my hair as fastly as possible. I picked up the scissors in my hand and... At that precise moment, we walked in through the annoyingly unlocked cabin door. Yeah, you probably should have locked the door. Things happen like that sometimes, don't they? I guess. I mean, not really. But this is like a very specific situation. Things do indeed happen like that from time to time. Are those two even talking about the same thing? I know, right? There's just one more thing I'd like to know. What exactly do you have inside your traveling case? Yeah, I want to know too. You were right. It is my dear friend inside. My only friend in the whole world. Aw. Please, Don't tell anyone. If the captain finds out, if you say to any of the crew, your secret is safe with us, I assure you. But in return, you must tell us, in as much detail as you can muster, about the events of last night. Yes, all right. I will tell you. Well, Mr. Naruhodo? Wasn't it something, Mr. Sholm's great deduction? It was certainly something, yes. It definitely was something. I'm just not entirely sure which. But at least Miss Pavlova has agreed to tell us what she knows. That's incredible. Indeed, it is incredible. Ah, and one more thing. Oh, yes? What? Observe your wrists. My... handcuffs again. Ah, your hands are cuffed again. What? But how? True to my word, I've restored your shackles. When? And why? There's still a shadow of guilt cast over you, Mr. Naruhodo. I'm sorry to say, it can't be helped at the moment. Can't it? Really? Anyway, let's listen to what Miss Pavlova has to say. I can't go on not knowing. I have to find out what that speckled band that Kazuma-sama wrote about in his diary really was. Okay, I guess I can examine stuff now. Let me see. Don't touch! Huh? I will tell you what I know about last night, but please, you must not touch my things. How do you say, forbid it? Oh, sorry. As well you should be, young man. What vulgar manners you have. Poking around in a young lady's private belongings? Neither shall I allow it. Hypocrite. Wait, but these ones aren't hers. These books were put there by the ship's crew, or the steward. This tangent made me forget they were even investigating Kazuma's death. Yeah, me too. There's a lot going on right now. Okay, so I can't look at anything, I guess. Alright, so we'll talk to her. Our only option, I guess. What happened last night? Did you know that someone was killed in the cabin next door to this one last night? Oh, now we're back to talking about Kazuma. One of the crewmen told me this morning when I was eating breakfast. The man who died, he was a friend of mine. Oh. That's why we're trying to find out what happened. Did you notice anything unusual last night? Perhaps you heard a strange noise, for example? Perhaps people talking? Perhaps the ship was absorbed in a wild tempest? Perhaps the steam engine exploded? What? I think everyone would notice if the engine exploded. Perhaps everyone on board would have noticed if that had happened. That's what I said. That's what I just said. I just said it. Miss Pavlova? Is there anything you can tell us? I don't know. I'm sorry, but all I could think about last night was what I had done and whether they would find me. I didn't notice anything that was happening around me. Oh, I see. You've run away from your ballet company, haven't you? The Novovich Ballet? Yes. Okay, so wait, how are they even talking to each other? Because, I mean, she probably doesn't speak Japanese, because, like, why would she? She's a 15-year-old Russian girl. And Ryanosuke doesn't speak English, because in the last trial, we had that British girl on the stand, and she was speaking English, and Ryanosuke had no idea what she was saying. And he doesn't speak Russian, because we were finding, like, so that message that Kazuma wrote, supposedly, was in Russian, and then the books were in Russian, and Ryanosuke was like, oh, I can't read any of this. So unless she speaks Japanese, or we suddenly learned Russian, I don't know how they're talking to each other. I'm traveling to Great Britain, and from there, I want to go to America. I will never dance again. I want to forget everything about the ballet. I will start a new life. As a 15-year-old girl? She killed Kazuma 100%. Do you think so? I don't think so. What reason would she have to kill Kazuma? Plus, I mean, she's a 15-year-old girl. I don't think she could overpower Kazuma. Japanifornia. You wish to forget? A challenging proposition. When you have that striking tiara as a reminder. But the tiara is mine. I need it to live. Well, I mean, I'm pretty sure she took it to sell. She needs money. I have no money of my own. The Novovich Ballet gives us only a little food and water, and we must dance all over the world. I had to run away. I had no choice. If I stayed, it would have killed me. So you ran away to protect yourself? Yes. And the crew of this ship, they have all been kind to me. They let me come on board, and they said I could hide in this cabin. Oh, so they knew that she disguised herself. If that is indeed the truth, Miss Pavlova, it creates a most intriguing conundrum. Yes, it does. So, Ventus, you know what Japanifornia reminds me of? You ever see Big Hero 6? And San Francisco? Or is that what they called it? It was something like that. I think it was San Francisco. Yeah, it was San Francisco. Me? Oh, well, yes, of course. I think we should hear Miss Pavlova's explanation. What conundrum? I'm not sure, but... Oh, it's the game with Herlock Sholmes, yeah. Yeah, Herlock Sholmes. Him and his Elementsky. And his great deductions. Miss Pavlova, allow me to pose you a riddle. Riddle me this, Pavlova. According to this newspaper, it was only yesterday that you absconded from the ballet. It was, yeah. Yeah. That's what Japanifornia reminds me of. Now, being the case, it must have been last night that you boarded this vessel. However, the SS Buria stopped by no port last night. Ah, that's it, of course. So how is it, pray, that you come to be aboard? Now that I think about it, the crewman outside the cabin acted very strangely when we mentioned that. Wait, when we mentioned what? It was just after we asked him about when the occupant of this cabin came aboard. That is not your business. Yes, you're right. He did seem to be hiding something. An angel descended from the heavens, bringing grace and beauty to the stage. Kazuma found out about her pet, so naturally she killed him. That seems very extreme. Sorry, what was that? It is how the Russian newspapers described one of my performances. And that is how I came here too. I descended from the heavens because I'm an angel. What? What are you talking about? First of all, you think very highly of yourself. Case closed. That'd be a very short case. Considering English isn't your mother tongue, your description is very vivid. Wait, so we are speaking English? Because when that British girl took the stand last case, you didn't understand English, Rhinosuke. Mr. Sholmes once said, I never can resist a touch of the dramatic. It seems Miss Pavlova is the same. A genius descended from the heavens, bringing grace and beauty to detection. Words once said about myself. Oh, of course. A quote from a wonderfully extravagant advertisement for the adventures of Herlock Sholmes, in fact. Yes, Mr. Showy. Anyway, it doesn't look like Miss Pavlova is going to tell us what really happened. Okay, so yeah, that resulted in nothing. Pavlova could be an accomplice, secret second person. She could be, but I don't think so. So the friend you mentioned is inside your traveling case, is that right? I don't think think animals are allowed on board according to the rules of passage. Oh, please, don't tell. Don't tell any of the crew. If they found my precious, then the burly Russians would bestir themselves in unison to throw you and your case overboard, no doubt. What? Are they seriously gonna throw people overboard for having a pet? So reassuring, Mr. Sholmes. But what sort of pet is your friend? A little puppy? It is, isn't it? How would you take care of a puppy at sea and not let anybody know? Maybe it is an adorable little rabbit? Ah, you credit Russia as a land with small rabbits, do you? Oh, don't they have small rabbits there then? You may well ask. I have no idea. I mean, I'd assume they have rabbits. Was there a country without rabbits? You two are miserable bunglers when it comes to understanding the nature of young ballerina's friends. Okay, and you're an expert at understanding young ballerina's friends? Yo, I was right. That Kazuma found out about her pet and she killed him? I mean, it was the 1900s. Yes. Yeah, it was the 1900s, so I guess Antarctica might have no rabbits. Yeah. It's not a country, though. Isn't it obvious it must be a chicken? Really? Consider the benefits. A rousing wake-up call, daily fresh eggs, and when adversity strikes, it could satisfy the needs of sustenance. So you'd eat your friends. I'll remember that. Ryanosuke will remember that. If anyone ever played any Telltale games, Ryanosuke will remember that. Right about the overboard thing. Oh. I want to see what it is. Will it appear this friend's identity is a closely guarded secret not to be revealed? No, we don't get to see what it is. So is the real Herlock Sholmes there? Oh, he's definitely the real Herlock Sholmes. She obviously doesn't quite trust us yet. There's something I should like to show her, I think. Maybe she might be able to shed some light on it. There's something we want to show her? What could we present to her? Oh, maybe, well... Maybe either the diary or the picture, I think. Something that can fit in the ventilator grill. Yeah, I was thinking when in Kazuma's diary, when he said it was a speckled band, I was thinking maybe the tail of like a lizard or something. I prefer Sherlock Holmes, but hey, I'll take it. Yeah, he is a interesting parody of Sherlock Holmes. Okay, so I'm gonna try presenting the picture because maybe she can tell me what the message means. Miss Pavlova, would you take a look at this? Okay, that wasn't the right thing. I don't know. I don't know anything. Mr. Naruhodo, you're frightening the poor girl. Oh, sorry. I wasn't trying to. Okay, so maybe this then? Oops. Wrong button. This is the diary of my friend who passed away. Okay, this was the right thing. A chicken can both fit in a grill and a grill. I do like grilled chicken. I don't know if they would have any grills on board, though. His diary? Yes, and he wrote in it last night before he died. Something a little unusual. It reads, 1:23 a.m. I can hear a faint whistling sound. And then a few minutes later, 1:35 a.m., what looks like to be some sort of speckled band is dangling from the ventilator grill. A speckled band? I don't understand. Oh, maybe it's a cat. True, true. Do you think it's a cat, like, with a speckled tail? I think it's the speckled band he was talking about. I think it's like the tail of an animal. It's strange, isn't it? But the ventilator he mentions joins to this cabin, you see. It's up there on the wall. In other words, this cabin and the victim's cabin are connected together. Oh. Miss Pavlova? Has something occurred to you? Does the speckled band the victim mentioned mean something to you? Or the whistling sound, perhaps? Oh. Do you think it's a bird? Because a bird would be able to whistle, and it could have a speckled tail. No. I don't know anything. Oh. Come on, Nina. Help me out here. Work with me. Knock, knock. Excuse me, Mr. Roylott. Yes? What? Wow, she got dressed very quickly. Or, well, I guess she was wearing the same things, all the same things. She just had to put on the beard, mustache, and sunglasses. Wow, she's fast. That's what I said. I feel like I'm saying everything Ryanosuke says right before he says it. A parrot, maybe? Yeah. A captain would like to speak with you. You must come to captain's quarters at once. Please. All right. I will come now. What? You must leave. Now. Oh no, it's fine. Don't mind us. Yes, please don't worry yourself, Mr. Roylott. Get out! Passenger said out, or do you want me to throw you out? Ugh. Looks like we'll have to leave investigating this cabin until later. What a pity. And so we lost our chance. Having still not managed to investigate Miss Pavlova's cabin, we were unceremoniously chased out. That is to say, we were quite literally picked up and thrown into the passageway outside. To be continued. TBC. Wait, Roylott is Pavlova? Yes. She was disguising herself as an old man. Although I'm not sure how, like, nobody else noticed her hair. 9th January, SS Buria, first class cabin passageway. Or, well, actually, you know what? She may have, like, had her hair up under the hat, and then she just had it down in the room because she was about to cut it off. And then when she, like, goes out into the ship, she puts it up all under the hat. That makes sense. I wish we hadn't been thrown out like that. I wish we'd managed to find some clue as to what that speckled band might be. We didn't manage to investigate at all. And I imagine... I mean, we found out some stuff. Like, we found out that Roylott was really Pavlova. And that there's an animal on board, and that could be the speckled band. That we won't be able to for a while longer. We'll never get past that sailor guarding the door. He's clearly glaring at us as if to say, don't even think about it. Yeah, is this some sort of play on name? Roylott and Pavlova? No, it's just like, ah yes, let me get a different facial structure and voice. Yeah, I mean, I guess she must have been disguising her voice, but she just like covers up everything as her disguise. Like, she puts a hat on and sunglasses, fake beard and mustache, big coat. Oh, wait a minute. What is it? Well, what happened to our great detective friend? Where did he go? Oh yes, he's completely disappeared. Oh yeah, I forgot about him. When did he do that? He slipped away as quietly as the wind, but not before ensuring these were securely back on my wrists. Okay, so we can't go back into the ballerina's cabin. Maybe we can talk to the sailor again? I really wish we'd had a chance to look around in Miss Pavlova's cabin. What? Why you look like that? You want something? Hmm? Maybe you want me to throw you out again, hmm? Oh, no. Definitely not that. It is too damn cold to be wearing that crop top sailor uniform. I know, right? Next time I have to throw you out, I show you where lobsters spend winter. Understand? Understand. Maybe I should steer clear of him until he's forgotten my face. I know, I love that he's got a little belly showing here. Is it a crop top? Or is it just that he's such a giant person that his uniform doesn't fit? I mean, the rest of it seems to fit okay. I don't think I'll ever forget your face, Naruhodo-san. That's helpful. So can I go through this door now? That door leads to the second-class area. It's locked. I can't open it. No, well, that stands to reason. No one wants to let the murderer escape. Gosh, she gave me a very stern look when she said that. Alright, so I guess I have to go back into Kazuma's cabin. It's the only place I can go. 9th January, SS Berea, first class cabin. Number 1. It looks like they're still investigating in here. Yes, on that subject. I wonder if Inspector Hasanaga is unscathed. Oh yeah, I forgot about him. What do you mean unscathed? Surely you haven't forgotten, have you, Naruhodo-san? Do you remember what he said about allowing you out of this cabin to investigate? He was going to talk to the captain about it. He said he'd lay his life on the line for you. Oh, yes. But I'm sure he was exaggerating. Let's see what he has to say for himself. He might have some new information for us. You never know. Okay, so where is he? Oh, there he is. Did I examine this? Yes, I did. Okay, skip. Okay, I should have looked. I should have looked first because there was a check mark. Check mark, check mark. So this ventilator joins to Miss Pavlova's cabin. Yes, that's right. And just a few minutes before he died, Kazuma saw something emerging from it. The speckled band, as he described it. If only Miss Pavlova had been able to shed some light on it, but she seemed as baffled as we are. Yes, I wonder if she's telling us everything, though. I'm not sure. I know most people aboard would say the same about me, but there was something about that woman that didn't sit right with me. Why do these not have a check mark? Because I investigated them already. So I'm gonna look at everything that doesn't have a check mark just in case there's some new information that can be found by investigating again. This is where Kazuma spent his final moments writing his diary. 1:23 a.m. I can hear a faint whistling sound. Okay, we already went over this. So the thing that made me think it was some sort of animal tail is that he said what looks like some sort of speckled band is dangling from the ventilator grill. Like, why would it be dangling? Okay, so we already went over that. All the books provided for passengers occupying this cabin neatly arranged on the shelf. They were all over the place when we first looked around, if you remember. Oh yes, and you tidied them up, didn't you? You have to look after the ship's property. Unruly behavior in the cabin leads to damage. But it really wasn't me who knocked them over. Well, anyway, I feel much better now that they're neatly lined up. I can't relax when things are untidy. What? Look at this entire room. Are you gonna tidy up the entire crime scene? Okay, I looked at that. Thought I looked at the table, too. Oh, there's a check mark there. Okay, so I investigated the scroll already. So let's just skip past this. Okay, I investigated that. Bands also wrap around in circular form. Yeah. I mean, what else could it be, though? You. Where did you go? Oh, sorry. I just went to the next door cabin to invest. Why? Who gave you permission for this? Well, Seaman Hasanaga did. That new Japanese, was it? Later, I will roll him into a ball and throw him in cold room. Okay. Whoa, he's gone back to guarding the door. I hope Inspector Hasanaga doesn't find himself in too much trouble on our account. He's really gone out of his way to help us, hasn't he? When we get back to Japan, we'll have to take him for a steak at La Carnival. That could be a very long time from now, Naruhodo-san. Oh my god, what happened to him? Ah, you're back. Inspector, what happened to you? Your faces. Please, don't worry about it. I'm worried. It's a little concerning. They're just scratches. Made by a bear, maybe. When I told the captain that I'd given you permission to investigate, he told me he'd pummel me with his fists and then toss me overboard. What? But the pummeling was over in a flash, and he must have decided against throwing me overboard. Oh my god. It was nothing, really. It looks like he wasn't joking when he said he'd lay his life on the line if he had to. Well, thanks to your efforts, we now know a little about the neighboring cabin. Yes, so I understand. Oh. I bumped into a man claiming to be a great detective a little while ago. I think his name was something like Herlock Scholz. I don't think he was German, though. Ah, that explains it. Shall we compare notes, son? We can tell you what we found out. Yes, let's do it. What? Nikolina Pavlova? She's in the cabin next door? Oh, do you know who she is? Please, what self-respecting ballet fan wouldn't know that graceful angel? Okay, well, I didn't know you were into ballet. I don't know your life. Oops, I think I upset him there. Well, that tells us the neighboring cabin is unrelated to the case, at least. Oh, how? Because angels don't go around committing crimes, do they? What? Oops, now I've definitely upset him. Inspector, has your investigation in here proved fruitful? If I'm honest, there's very little more I can do. Our duty is to make sure the scene isn't disturbed, ready to hand over to the Hong Kong police. So I'm just keeping watch here, trying not to take my eyes off the job. Oh, I see. Ah, there's one thing. I do have a small piece of new information for you. Oh, what? Yes, do tell us, Inspector, please. New information. What is this new information you have, Inspector? It's this. The Buria's medical officer has finished his examination of the body. I managed to obtain the report. Ooh, that would provide a lot of information. Oh, Kazuma's post-mortem report? This is not a small piece of information, Hasanaga. This is big. Kazuma-sama. So, what was the cause of death? Damage to the cervical vertebrae is what's written in the report. His neck was broken? Yes, it would seem so. There were no obvious wounds or other signs of injury. So at first, I think they were considering poison, but it turns out they found no trace of poison in his system at all. Well, what weapon was used then? Nothing has been found as yet, but the fact that there are no signs of a wound suggests it may have been a blunt object. Something that wouldn't leave a mark. Oh, I see. All the body's nerves run through the spine to the brain. A strong enough impact to the neck could induce death. It is a possibility, and no obvious wound would be left. Poor Kazuma. I have a second copy of the report. If it might be useful, you're welcome to have it. Really? Are you sure? Yes, it's fine. I trust you. Oh, thanks. After all, if I didn't trust you, I'd never have agreed to you leaving the cabin in the first place, would I? Aw. He trusts me. Thanks, Hasanaga. Ah. What is this, Sasato? A report from the SS Buria's medical officer giving the cause of death as a cervical spine injury. There was no traces of external injury or poison. Okay, so let me look at the report. Victim, male, Far Eastern, time of death, sometime between 1 a.m. and a little past 2 a.m. Cause of death, damage to the cervical vertebrae resulting in instant death. The victim's neck was almost certainly broken as a result of a strong blow to the area. No obvious external injuries or traces of poison. Okay, so first of all, he couldn't have written this message because he died instantly. Secondly, I think that this statue on the bookshelf here, I think that was the murder weapon. Yeah, I think the statue is the murder weapon. So, I was also thinking maybe like the end of the sword or this candle holder, but I don't think those are heavy enough. Okay, so let's go back and finish talking to Hasanaga. Oh, Mr. Sholmes was here, was he? Yes, he seemed to be enjoying himself a little too much as he crept about on the floor investigating. So I don't know if it was this exact statue in the room, but in Pavlova's cabin, she had the exact same setup on the bookshelf. Like, she had the same statue here. So it was either this statue or like a statue from another room, I think was the murder weapon. Yes, he seemed to be enjoying himself a little too much as he crept about on the floor investigating. But then he suddenly left. I suppose he must have become bored. Did he say anything at all? Actually, now that you mention it, yes. Just one thing, but he practically shouted it. It's shoe polish, was all he said. Shoe polish? I wonder what he meant. It was when he was over there, by the piece of broken glass. Do you see? Ah, perhaps he was talking about this brick-colored mark. Do you think? I mean, I don't know what else he could possibly have been talking about. Ah, yes, that must be it. But how can Mr. Sholmes know it was shoe polish? Oh, wait a minute. Wait, now I'm thinking of something else. Maybe it wasn't the statue. Okay, let me finish talking to him and then I will say my thoughts. That leaves me cold, I'm afraid. I have no idea. What is it, Sasada-san? Well, Kazuma-sama was wearing leather shoes with a very dark tan hue. Dark tan? A sort of dark brownish red then. Yes, a little like the color of red wine, but darker. I often repaired them for him. Oh, does this mean that this mark was made by the polish on Kazuma's shoes as they scuffed on the floor? Okay, so a piece of small glass object and what looks like a scuff mark made by Kazuma's shoes was found by the victim's body. So I think maybe this thing here, it might have been a piece of the murder weapon, and then he was dragged across the floor to where his body was found. Why was Ryanosuke dragged though? Yeah. Why was he so that's not where he died. is what I'm getting from this. That's really all I can tell you at this stage. I should return to my post. My fellow crewmen's eyes are boring into the back of my head. Yes, that might be for the best. Thank you. Poor Inspector. You look exhausted. Oh, no. Well... I feel terrible that I failed to protect Asogi-san. It was my responsibility. Aww. Of course, my pain is nothing compared to yours. You were his friends. The truth is... I seem to have had a heavy head ever since I woke this morning. A heavy head? That's interesting. My head's still throbbing too. Okay, so... Oh, why was Ryanosuke drugged? Do we think he was drugged? I mean, so he was definitely dragged. So he was dragged... So... He was dragged here. He's dragged over here to where his body was found. And somebody faked this message. Okay, so then somebody did fake the message after he died. So I was thinking before that either he faked the message, or somebody faked the message, or that Ryanosuke wrote wardrobe because he didn't want Ryanosuke to be locked in the wardrobe forever. But he didn't know Russian, I don't think. So it's like, why would he write it in Russian? Okay. Well, I'm gonna take a break before I move on. I'm not sure exactly what to do next, but I'm gonna take a quick break and then I will figure out what to do. So I'll be right back. The food was clearly laced with something if the detective is also suffering a throbbing head. But then wouldn't, like, Sasudo and Pavlova also be saying their head hurt? I mean, they all have the same food. Or I guess just Hasanaga and Ryanosuke's food could have been drugged. But then how would the killer know that? Because Hasanaga is undercover, so how would the killer know that Hasanaga is undercover? I don't know. We'll find out, T. We'll figure it out. We've got a lot of questions left. 9th January, SS Buria, first class cabin passageway. Ah. Look, Naruhodo-san. Seaman Stroganoff has gone. Strong enough? No, Stroganoff. The burly Russian sailor who's always crossing his arms and glaring at us. True. Yeah, so like, Ryanosuke said that he ate the chicken. And, like, Kazuma didn't like the chicken. But Sasato. You think this says... Okay. I think Sasato. I think this is how you pronounce her name. Sasato. She said the chicken was really good too. So she must have also eaten the chicken. But I don't know. I mean, like, Ryanosuke didn't wake up when Kazuma was killed, so maybe he was drugged. But I don't know if Hasanaga would have been drugged. I don't know. Well, I'm sure we'll get an explanation. We're just very early on, but I think those questions will be answered. Ugh, all these Russian names are impossible to remember. Tra-la-la. Did you hear that? It sounded like someone singing. Tra-la-la lira-lay, I did it the great detective way. That must be Herlock Sholmes. This caroling. I know that lark-like voice. We'll never mind that now. This is a golden opportunity for us. Yes, you're right. We must seize it. Let's get inside Miss Pavlova's cabin while we can and investigate. Definitely. Before that stringy knot crewman comes back. Stringy knot? It's Stroganov, not stringy knot. Move! Move, move, move! Pavlova's cabin. 9th January. SS Buria, first class cabin, number 2. Miss Pavlova isn't back yet. Sasato-san. Oh, where's she gone? Hey, what are you doing? Those are her private things. There's not a moment to waste, Naruhodo-san. We must investigate as quickly as we can. I suppose you're right. For Kazuma's sake. She, changed her morals very quickly. Not just for Kazuma-sama. What do you mean? It can't be long now until we arrive at port in Hong Kong. I don't want you to be in those handcuffs when we get there. Really? We must solve this case, Naruhodo-san. By ourselves if we have to. Yes, we will. Oh. Oh, the case is open now. Where's the animal? Oh my, Miss Pavlova's case is open. It's completely empty inside, but according to the great detective's great deduction, she was hiding her special friend in there. Yes, a friend that she had to keep secret, because you're not allowed to bring animals aboard the SS Buria. I wonder what kind of animal she had in there. And more to the point, where is it now? Wait, wasn't that wardrobe empty? Sholmes was resting in there. Yeah, it was. Maybe after he left, Pavlova put some stuff in there. All the books have toppled over together. Look, every single one. Do you think that's a god of the sea, perhaps? He's toppled too, though. It's exactly the same as the bookcase next door. In Kazuma's cabin. Perhaps. Perhaps Miss Pavlova was practicing a difficult ballet pose and fell against the bookcase? I don't know. Would she really be practicing ballet on the same night she ran away from her ballet company? Alright then. It must have been you. You lost your temper and knocked them all over in a fit of rage? What? Not everything bad that happens on the ship is because of me, you know? How would Ryanosuke have been able to knock over the books in Pavlova's cabin? Well, anyway, I'll set them all straight again in here too. I don't like seeing things in disarray. So we're not gonna open this bag over here? Naruhodo-san, are you there? Sorry, I'm right here, yes. Why? Oh, good. I thought you might have climbed into the wardrobe when I wasn't looking. There's no place like home. Oh, wow. Sasato. Believe me, I don't have some strange compulsion to jump inside every wardrobe I see, you know. Well, anyway, I'm not sure anyone could fit inside this one. It's full of beautiful outfits. I suppose they're all stage costumes. Wow, so Pavlova came on board with a lot of stuff. I was rather hoping we might find Miss Pavlova's friend hiding in there, but no such luck. Oh, I tried to click on the bed, but apparently I clicked on the wardrobe again. Okay, the vent. We're straight snooping at this point. Yes, we are. We gotta do what we gotta do. I'm innocent. We're gonna prove it. So this ventilator connects to Kazuma's cabin next door. Yes, although what a fool a shipbuilder must be to open a ventilator into another room. Ah, maybe. It's so that if there's a gas leak next door, the occupant of this cabin would notice and raise the alarm. Or the occupants of both cabins would die of gas poisoning. That is a possibility. Anyway, last night, Kazuma wrote that he saw a speckled band coming out of this ventilator. There are just a few books on the desk. Nothing else by the looks of it. Well, Miss Pavlova only ran away from the ballet last night. She's hardly occupied this cabin for any time at all. That's true. I wonder what kind of book she likes to read. Let me see. Yes, I see. It would seem that Miss Pavlova enjoys reading. Books written in Russian. That would make sense. Thanks, I think I probably already knew that. It's rude to ask too much of people, Naruhodo-san. Kindly remember that. Hey, got very defensive there. It would seem this teapot is empty. So the natural conclusion is that Russians are a very thirsty people. What? Or because Miss Pavlova only came into this cabin last night, she hasn't had the chance to make any tea yet? I mean, it could be either. Yeah, I guess that's true too. Could be either. It's definitely that they're excessively thirsty. I'd lay 1,000 to 1 on it. You'd rather obstinate, aren't you? You're rather obstinate, aren't you, Naruhodo-san? Okay. I wonder what this little saucer is doing on the floor. Yes, it doesn't look like it's been dropped. More like it was put there deliberately. Oh, it is a cat. It was a saucer for a cat, but then what would the whistling sound be? Ah, do you think there could be a leak in the roof just above here? What, a leak? Is this ship quite safe? I'm sure that even if there's a little leak in the roof, it doesn't mean the whole ship is going to sink. No, you're right. Of course you're right. She's really trying to persuade herself, isn't she? So I think it was a cat, because like a cat could certainly jump from like the bed to the top of the wardrobe into the ventilator. Or the vent. Whatever they're gonna call it here. Yes, they're displayed in this cabin too. Look, the SS Buria's rules of passage. Passengers must not keep weapons or other dangerous objects in their cabins. Pets are also strictly forbidden. I suppose Miss Pavlova realized she needed to keep the contents of her case a secret after she reads this. Her special friend, I mean. I wonder where her friend has disappeared to now. Probably having fun exploring the ship, I imagine. I just hope Seaman Stroganoff doesn't find it and throw it overboard. Oh yes, so do I. I mean, if the crew knew that Pavlova was like really Pavlova and let her like sneak on board, they'll probably let her have a cat. But she's Russian, so her pet has to be something more obscure than a cat. Yeah, I was also thinking possibly like some sort of exotic animal, like, but like something that could like climb around with a long tail, like a I don't know, like a lemur or something. Do they have lemurs in Russia? There's one of these next to the bed in Kazuma's cabin too. Yes, it's a bell cord. I can't resist. She barely hesitated there, and she gave it a good tug too. No, I didn't actually expect anyone to come. We don't want them to. We're trying to investigate in secret. Or maybe it's like a fox? Maybe she's got a fox? A lemur? I mean, you don't know. It could be a lemur. I mean, what's got a speckled tail? Hey, Polly B, what's up? Thank you so much for coming in. How are you? I think you're on the right train of thought, though. Yeah, like some sort of exotic animal, right? With like a long tail. But I think lemurs have like striped tails. I just can't think of what would be like a speckled tail. I suppose every cabin has a waste paper basket. Shall we have a little look and see what's been thrown away? Naruhodo-san, it's poor etiquette to go sifting through someone's rubbish, you know. What? We are trying to prove my innocence, lady. Ugh, those eyes. She's looking at me like I'm a piece of rubbish now. However, these are special circumstances, I think. Exactly, we have no choice. There's hardly anything in here at all. Oh, well, that's a little disappointing. Okay, so... I don't think there's anything else I can investigate here. Nope. I mean, I really didn't find much, except that there's a saucer on the ground. So... I think it's got to be some sort of, like, mammal. Like, exotic mammal. Okay, so let's... This cabin door has the same simple sort of bolted latch that our cabin door has. With the bolts drawn across, there's no way anybody could enter the cabin from outside. Yes, it's not a particularly heavy-duty bolt, is it? But still, it wouldn't slide across of its own accord, would it? No, and the door is made of metal, so there's no chance of trickery using magnets to unbolt it from the outside. And it seals up perfectly, too, to stop any seawater coming in. So you couldn't use the method you told me of passing a thread through a crack around the closed door either. I seem to know a lot of tricks for opening doors. I'm starting to see why they suspect me. Okay, I don't think there's anything else I can do here. Go back out into the passageway. Let's see if we can get into the other section of the boat. Oh, what is Herlock Sholmes doing? Oh, it's Mr. Sholmes, look. Wow, you never know where he's going to turn up next, do you? He seems to be stealing a look at something as he sings to himself. I did it the great detective way. He's still singing. Do you think he hasn't noticed us? Or he's simply in extremely high spirits? Yes, there were times, I'm sure you knew, when the yard bit off more than it could chew. And through it all, when there was doubt, it's lucky Herlock was about. Excuse me. I solved it all, and I stood tall. I did it the great detective way. Mr. Sholmes. Oh my god. What is it? You want to fight, Honestly, interrupting a fellow when he's singing, and I was just about to reach the climactic finish. Okay, this seems like a bit of an extreme reaction. Sorry, I thought you were never gonna stop, so I figured now is as good a time as any. Barely nearly dropped you to the floor with one of my famous right hooks. Alright, I get the picture. Now could you put those fists away? He does seem very light and agile on his feet, I'll give him that. Mr. Sholmes, you seem to be examining something before he interrupted you. Yes, that. I was immersed in study of the ship's log as penned by the stockily built crewman who's usually on guard here. Oh yes, the ship's log. And did you find out anything useful from it? Well, after 2 a.m. this morning, the majority of the entries are blank. Which means that there was nothing to report. Nothing of note happened, so... Or... they just didn't write it down. You truly are a student from the land of the rising sun. You've been utterly blinded by it. Sorry? Your logic, my boy, is inverted. Whatever do you mean, Mr. Sholmes? Observe the other pages, and all shall become clear. It would seem the same crewman off-stands sentry in this first-class passageway, and he has almost a religious practice of recording nothing to report every half hour. Oh, he writes that in every 30 minutes. Nothing to report. Okay, but they were saying the logbook around the time of Kazuma's death was blank, so he should have been writing nothing to report in there. Precisely. Put simply, the seaman writes nothing to report when there's just that. And yet, the ship's log from last night is largely blank. He didn't even write nothing to report, so he wasn't around. Do you mean... Yes, there were circumstances afoot last night, which led to the seaman being absent from his post. What kind of circumstances? What happened? That remains a mystery for now, but we can be sure something significant took place. So significant that it caused the seaman to forget his regular habit of scribing nothing to report in the log. Ooh, the plot thickens. These are important details. I would stake my life on it. You must log the ship's log in your mental file. A record kept by the crew assigned to the first-class cabin area. There are virtually no entries from 2 a.m. until early this morning. Now that deduction was worthy of a great detective. Ah, you're starting to understand what my way is, I see. What makes Sholmes Sholmes? Brilliance! Ooh, ouch. What is it? Are you hurt? Oh, don't worry yourself. I seem to be afflicted with a throbbing head this morning for some reason. Nothing more. Okay. Interesting. Unless the sentry guard was drugged. Yeah. And it looks like Herlock Sholmes was also drugged. So, okay, so... Hasanaga, Sholmes, and the sailor that usually stands guard here, it seems like they were all drugged. And Ryanosuke, too, because he said that his head hurt, too. So, T, I think you were right that they were drugged, but only certain people were drugged. But how did the killer know that Hasanaga was undercover? Susato. She is realizing something too. Well, my friends, until our next encounter. He's still singing to himself. I can hear it as he wanders off down the passageway. Is something wrong, Susato-san? You seem lost in thought. It's just... Well, I feel the same. Sorry? Ever since I woke this morning, I've had something of a headache. Oh, so her head also hurt. But she didn't say anything before. So, but like earlier, I was like, oh, well, Sasato also had the chicken, so wouldn't she also have a headache? But she did. She just didn't say anything until now. Very interesting. A sort of continuous throbbing. Oh, you too? Wait a minute. Does that mean... I'm wondering now if that means, like, everybody was drugged and the killer didn't know that Hosonaga was undercover. Because so far, like, now that I'm finding out that Sasato also had a headache, now I'm wondering if everybody was drugged and then, like, it's just that, like, you know, they're not saying it. They're just not saying it. Okay, let's check out the logbook. Oh, wait, let's look at this. Typical woman, never actually saying what's bothering them. JK. Well, I guess I am not a typical woman, T, because I will definitely let you know what is bothering me, and then some. Like, I will not just, like, say what's bothering me, I will, like, make sure that you know it. Okay, so nothing to report. Nothing to report until 1:30. Is it still locked? It's still locked. Okay, where can we go then? Oh, okay, something's happening in here. Oh, what's that? Oh boy. Shut down the engines immediately. Vessel sighted a 1/4 mile 4. Full stop. Hard to starboard. All hands brace for impact. What the? I think we're about to crash into another ship. What? Oh boy. I can't stand. Sasato-san, hold on to me. Sasato-san, are you alright? Are you injured at all? I think I'm fine. Thank you, Naruhodo-san. It looks like we avoided a collision. I think. And now all the books are knocked over again. Yes, the ship has come to a stop. Oh my goodness, what about you, Naruhodo-san? Are you hurt? No, I'm fine. Hello, is anyone in there? Shout if you need assistance. Oh, that sounds like... Inspector Hosonaga. Is that it? You in there, Naruhodo-san? Unbolt the door, quickly. What? The bolt? Look at that. The door is bolted. Oh. Realization. Maybe in Kazuma's cabin, because everything was knocked over, so there must have had... The boat must have done something similar, where it had to make like a sudden turn, and the bolt just like slid into place. So maybe somebody didn't come through the vent. Did you do that, Sasato-san? No, I didn't touch it. Well, that's strange. How did... And look at all the books. They're just like they were before again. Naruhodo-san, are you going to open the door and let the inspector in? I better tidy this place up first. Our violent emergency stop had solved one mystery, at least in a very vivid way. But I knew that what awaited us on the other side of the cabin door would not be pleasant. I hurried around tidying up the cabin with a new sense of foreboding in my heart. To be continued. door bolt locked itself. Yes, now was it done deliberately? I don't think so. I think that the door was unlocked. Somebody came in and killed Kazuma and then left, and then the boat had to make like either a sudden turn or a sudden stop, and then it like made Kazuma's door bolts lock itself. Originally, I was thinking somebody came through the vent that connected the cabins, the Kazuma's cabin to Pavlova's cabin, but I don't think a person could fit through there. And the door was locked from the inside. 9th January, SS Buria, Miss Pavlova's cabin. Somehow, the door to the cabin we were in ended up bolted after we made an emergency stop. Sasato-san took a deep breath, then gently slid back the bolt. You, what are you doing in Miss Pavlova's quarters? Ah, you both look unhurt. Good. Too much of a coincidence. I completely agree. Yes, we're fine, thank you. What on earth happened? We heard something about how we were going to collide with another ship. Yes, it appears to have been a false report, though. Oh! Someone must have stopped the ship on purpose. Yeah! Okay, another realization. So, whoever the killer was made a false report because they knew that the bolt would slide into place on its own. So it looked like it was locked from the inside. Oh, how did that happen? There's a dense fog outside, so it's extremely difficult to see. Someone must have thought he saw a ship ahead. This person obviously triggered the alarm, and that's why we made an emergency stop. Everything is in chaos. Passengers are screaming. Crew are running everywhere. Okay, so somebody must have tripped that alarm that we saw in the passageway to lock the door bolts. Yeah. So, I mean, but anybody can just like raise the alarm? This first class area is the only quiet part of the ship at the moment. Oh, I see. Someone triggered the alarm? Does that mean that someone pressed that button outside? Yeah, that's what I said. You wicked intruder dressed in all black? You are the devil. Sorry, me? I've been called a lot of things before, but devil is a first. You opened my traveling case. How could you? What? No, we didn't touch it. That's right, Miss Pavlova. It was already open when we came into your cabin. Inspector. Yes? Arrest this man. I know he did it. He's a criminal. Is it not enough that he has killed a man? Duh, and he's a stowaway as well. If Vixen promises not to steal chicken, do you believe? Wait, what? Take him away. He's a trespasser as well as everything else. Excuse me. You are also, like, a criminal. Because you stole... Well, I guess she's claiming the tiara is hers. But you disguised yourself and, like, snuck on board. The animal is probably in Kazuma's cabin. Yeah, maybe. It probably crawled through the vent. Stowing away, trespassing, killing. She is right. You're a devil. Doesn't look good, does it? There's a cell below deck. Throw him in. Tomorrow we dock in Hong Kong. Then we give you straight to police. Wait, a cell? Please, Inspector Hosonaga, is there nothing you can do? This is a Russian vessel. I really have no jurisdiction here. After my last effort to appeal to the captain's good nature, I think I'm out of options. This is terrible. This is a real crisis. I've got to find a solution. Immediately. Oh boy. Her accusing us of being a trespasser is like that Spider-Man meme of two Spider-Mans pointing at each other. I know, right? Like, we're both stowaways. I just need to keep calm and focus on the task at hand, which is investigating. Oh boy. Okay, so I guess I can't inspect anything. Mr. Naruhodo, what do you think you're doing? Wow, everyone's attacking me. And I was just starting to think she was my friend. Okay, so I guess I just have to talk to them. Isn't there anyone who can help me out of this mess? Miss Pavlova, can I get out? Listen, I'm sorry that we snuck in here without your permission, but get out now. We just need to investigate in here to help understand. Okay, I don't know what that said. Probably get out in Russian. It's no use, she's not gonna listen. We need to find someone who will. Please, just give me a little more time. I do nothing for you. Except show you the way to ship's prison cell. Thanks, but no thanks. But I'm innocent. I didn't kill anyone. And trespassing and stowing away? Well, you know, sometimes life can lead you down some unusual avenues and, well... Enough, you're guilty. Ship's cell is the only place fit for you. Come on, there has to be someone. Some savior to rescue me from this crisis? Hasanaga, I guess? You've got yourself into a difficult situation here. Oh, really? Yeah, I wasn't aware of that. By entering this cabin uninvited, I mean. Well, and everything else. Sorry, I was just so desperate to find a clue. I'm afraid there's really nothing more I can do to help you. If I push my luck any further, a punch to the face will be the least of my worries. I'm really sorry. I have to take responsibility for giving you the freedom to investigate Miss Pavlova's cabin. Now this has happened, I'll have to report to the captain at once. I really need some help here. I need a savior to rescue me from this crisis. Okay. So savior... Oh. What is he doing over there? Oh, my camera's blocking him. But he's like, okay, let me move my camera for a second. He's hanging onto the coat rack. Okay, so I guess the savior we're talking about is Sherlock Holmes. Well, yep, he's the only other person in here, so... What are you doing up there? Mr. Sholmes? What? Naturally, I was analyzing what a weight of 20,000 rubles feels like on one's head. Oh, of course, yes, as one does. Have I not told you that as a detective, it is my business to know what other people do not? This isn't mere tomfoolery, my boy. Oh, no, no. Well, why were you hanging from that hook before then? Isn't it obvious? To properly assess the weight of the 20,000 rubles, naturally. What? Sholmes our savior. That should be his new tagline. I wish to determine if it would bend the conceited-looking hook on the wall so full of brag and bounce. What? How is the... It's an inanimate object. How is it conceited? I never know whether to take this man seriously or not. Ah, you again. The great detective. Ah, Inspector. I confess I've been looking for you. I have something to report to you most urgently. Well, you might try looking for me somewhere other than a hook on the wall next time. Oh, Hasanaga. Savage. What is to report? Speak. Okay, so I can't investigate Pavlova's things, but she's okay with Sherlock Holmes just taking her tiara and wearing it. Pavlova's anger is misdirected towards us. She should be more mad at Holmes playing with her tiara. Exactly. An urgent report from a great detective can mean but one thing. Yes. The case of the curious murder that took place last night here on this vessel, the steamship Buria, has been solved. By me, naturally. What? Really? I think we are nowhere close to solving this case yet. Yes, I have eliminated all other possibilities. No other explanations exist. So, allow me to illuminate all your minds. For I'm about to reveal my great detective's greatly admired great deduction to the case. Oh, we're doing another one of these. Ha, you have solved it? Even Hedgehog understands this case. We all knew who was responsible for killing student boy this morning when we found criminal in wardrobe. It is a stowaway, and he has handcuffs to prove it. I didn't do it. The trouble is, there doesn't appear to be anyone else who could have killed the victim. Because, as everyone knows, the cabin door was bolted shut from the inside. That means the culprit must be someone who is inside the cabin. Yes, it's what's called a locked room mystery in detective stories. A locked room, that is point. The room was locked. Well, I can't deny that. There's no way the bolt could have been drawn across from the outside of the cabin. You're all quite mistaken. The cabin next door is not a so-called locked room at all. What? Oh yes, there's another entrance. An entrance used last night by the culprit in order to gain access to the cabin despite the bolted door. What other entrance? We never discovered one. Why, it gapes open-mouthed at you even as we speak. Well, he's talking about the vent. But, I don't know. Do you think a person could fit in there? I don't know. I think I was, like, at first I was thinking somebody came in through here, but I don't know if a person can fit it in there. So, I think I was right about the door locking itself when there was a sudden stop. Because when we found Kazuma's body, all the books on the shelf were toppled over. So why would they be toppled over? And they were just like, in the exact same position as the books toppling over in this cabin when the boat suddenly stopped. No way. Too small? The ventilator? Gah ha ha ha. You think this is funny? Kinda even put my arm through that hole. That's because your arm's as thick as tree trunks. You're suggesting that the culprit entered and left the victim's cabin through that tiny opening? Okay, yeah, so I was right. So somebody couldn't fit through there. It's not possible. Ah, but it is. And last night, the victim even witnessed the intruder in the act of passing through the ventilator. Too small, yeah. Mr. Sholmes, do you mean... Are you referring to the words Kazuma-sama wrote in his diary? 1:23 a.m. I can hear a faint whistling sound. 1:35 a.m. What looks like some sort of speckled band is dangling from the ventilator grill. Precisely, my dear madam. Maybe, just maybe Kazuma fell and broke his neck. I guess it's possible. Pretty pathetic death for our beloved Kazuma. Yeah, there's gotta be something more to it. But what does it mean? What is a speckled band? The answer to that particular conundrum is this very cabin. Mr. Sholmes, what are you doing? There's a distinct element of danger, but fear not, I am ready. What I am about to expose for you all to see will shock you to your cores. Behold! Yeah! Ah! What the? Oh, it was a snake? Allow me to introduce you all to the band. The speckled band. Oh. A snake, indubitably. Okay. I knew it was like the tail of something, but I mean, I don't know. Does this look speckled to you? Like, I mean, I would say this is striped. Indubitably. Mr. Sholmes, just one thing. Great, what troubles you? Well, that snake isn't really speckled, is it? Oh, that's what I said. I just said that. It looks more stripy, wouldn't you say? Yes, you're right. I think in this case, you'd have to call it the striped band, wouldn't you? Hehehe. You're right. You said snake or lizard earlier, right? Yeah, I said a lizard. I didn't think of a snake, but I thought it might be the tail of a lizard because they could have speckled tails. Because, like, I can't really think of, like, a mammal that would have a speckled tail. You both see and observe with distinction. However, I mean, I guess, like maybe a cat could have a speckled tail. That's why I thought of a cat when I saw the saucer. And a cat could, like, jump around. Do you not think that that is precisely the trap into which the culprit wishes you to fall? Snakes are just lizards without legs, though. Yeah. Okay, that's true. So I was right all along. I mean, well, they're in, like, the same categories as lizards, right? Like, they're all reptiles. Oh my goodness, really? It's a trap? How exactly? I think perhaps it is time I explain the intricacies of my train of thought. Are you ready, Miss Pavlova? So maybe the speckled band was something else. I'm sorry for the young man who died, but that is all. His death is nothing to do with me. This whole thing is nothing to do with me. There are two conclusions I have drawn from the facts. Number one, last night your friend infiltrated the victim's cabin. And number two, that same friend was responsible for the victim losing his life. So the snake hit him with a blunt object? She's turned as white as a bowl of rice again. Sholmes must be right. He's hit the nail on the head. This young woman's friend killed Mr. Asogi? It looks like he can't speak with that snake coiled around his head. I would advise as little movement as possible, Seaman. You wouldn't want the fangs of that long friend in your neck. So everyone, let us begin. Sherlock Sholmes is proud to present his logic and reasoning spectacular. I mean, if it was the snake, like if the snake bit him, I guess, they would find bite marks. But the autopsy said he was hit with a blunt object. Miss Pavlova, moments ago you claimed the following. His death has nothing to do with me. This whole thing has nothing to do with me. Yet you cannot deceive yourself. Yes, when you recall those horrid events, your aching heart smarts with pain. And it is that very pain that evidences your inextricable link to the victim's death. This again, yeah. Yeah, they had another one of these pretty quickly after the last one. So we ask, what was the nature of this intruder that stole into the victim's cabin on that what is that word? Portentous night. I don't know what that means. Why, naturally, it was a friend with which you boarded this vessel, was it not? Ah, as I suspected, another telltale glance. Without doubt, your friend is the writhing serpent we see before us. And yet, that fact leaves us in a quandary. The victim's written observations on the night in question tell of a speckled band. Whereas, regrettably, The specimen's markings do not fit that description in any way. What explanation can we then give, pray? What was the sight that fell upon the victim's eyes last night? No, don't look at me. This has nothing to do with any of this. Oh, but it does. You have to have the answer to this quandary even now, hidden behind your back. What? Yes, that which you are trying but failing to conceal can only be the snake's sloth skin. Evidently, after the subtle and horrible crime, this most deadly friend of yours shed its original skin. No. I don't know what you're talking about. Oh. Last night, through the ventilator visible in this cabin, your then speckled friend slithered next door. Using the bell cord on the other side as a bridge, the serpent silently descended into the victim's quarters. In the dim light, it appeared to the young gentleman who was about to lose his life as a speckled band. In summary, the nature of this friend of yours, which last night infiltrated the scene of the crime, is a rare breed of snake, whose markings change each time it sloughs its skin. Sloughs? Not sure how to pronounce that. Sloths? Sloughs its skin. I'm gonna look up how to pronounce this. Slough. Slew. Okay, it's slough. And then slew is the past tense. A snake so dreadful, we can only imagine it would be found in the deepest depths of India. A beloved speckled snake. Moving on, we come to the heart of the matter, the grim demise of the victim. How did this young man lose his life, and why? According to the data of which I've been apprised, it would appear there were no visible signs of injury. Ah! In fact, the circumstances of the victim's death can only be explained by a terrible venom. Now, if we take that as fact, we can reasonably imagine that there remains evidence to affirm it at the scene of the crime. Oh no, could there be... Yes, an examination of the deceased body will prove the cause of death conclusively. Well, we have the autopsy report. The almost but not quite imperceptible puncture wounds left by the venomous fangs will seal the truth. Yes, the vestiges of the snake bite delivered by your terrifying friend. This makes no sense. There's no point feigning ignorance, Miss Pavlova. After the incident, you endeavored to hide everything, didn't you? But now your involuntary glance betrays the hiding place you chose. That's right, you hid the evidence that links you to the victim's death in the traveling case. When we first met in this cabin, it came to my attention that your case moved periodically. Your serpent assassin was restless inside, no doubt. I just walked in on a murder? Yes, you did, Tiny Tina. I think as long as I'm playing an Ace Attorney game, I think you'll probably always walk in and on a murder. You don't... It is telling that the victim made note of a low whistling sound that he heard minutes before his end. That was your signal, was it not? The sound you had used to train your serpent friend. To train? Indeed, you put the serpent through this ventilator and wait. After a period, you summoned it back with a whistle. You couldn't know if the animal had done its duty, so you'd listen for signs of life next door. If the victim appeared not to have been dispatched, you'd release the snake once more. Okay, I mean, he's all wrong, because the autopsy report says he had a broken neck and was hit with a blunt object. Her snake was restless because it was dying for air. I know, right? Do you deny the snake has undergone such training? It's not true. Having slithered through the ventilator and down the bell cord, the creature needed only to sink its fangs in once. And its venom would course through the victim's veins, ending his existence forever. When will Ace get a break from the murders and objections? Not as long as I'm playing these games. But, see, here's the thing, Tiny Tina. We always solve the case. That is the true nature of the speckled band that took the poor young man's life. I, like, completely put those words out of order. There can be no doubt my logic is infallible. Well, I guess we have to do the same thing as we did before and have to correct him. Thus concludes Herlock Sholmes' great deduction of the speckled band. I love the expressions on their faces. Miss Pavlova has trained her pet snake as a killing machine. There on the floor, you observe a saucer of milk. The promise of food is the key to training any creature. Incredible. You've solved the mystery. Amazing. Your great deduction really lives up to its name. I see now why Herlock Sholmes has become such a household name. My dear man, it was nothing remarkable. As the Russians say, I could have done it with one left hand. Can I venture an opinion, Mr. Sholmes? But of course, what's on your mind? Y'all seen the Johnny Depp vs. Amber Heard Ace Attorney parody? So good. No, I didn't even know that existed. And I came in at 5:35. Well, yeah, it's... Or I guess I was gonna say it's late for you, but I guess it'd be early for you. It's just about your deductions before. Some things don't quite make sense to me. I welcome questions as to my method, and will answer both loudly and proudly. Oh, well, good. First of all, snakes are egg-laying creatures, part of the reptile family. You are well informed, madam. You have to see it. Okay, I'll look it up after this. And reptiles, don't drink milk. Ah. It's really only mammals that like to drink milk, you see. So, I'm not sure it would be possible to train a snake using milk as a reward. Was there milk in the saucer? No matter, no doubt, Miss Pavlova used some other treat to encourage her pet to do her bidding. Milk was merely an example. The logic holds. Well, there is something else. Snakes have no ears. Ah. Yes, so I'm not sure it would really be possible to signal to a snake by whistling. Snakes have no ears? I didn't know that. But madam, what of the tales from Arabia? Have you not heard of the snakes that dance to the sounds of a flute? I think perhaps the performers played their music in time with the snake's natural movements. Oh, I see. No hands, no feet, no ears? These creatures are so inept as to be practically useless. Wow, that's rude. Snake's right there, dude. Don't take it out on the snakes, Mr. Sholmes. And since it's early morning, I must go and get sleep. Okay, Tiny Tina, get some sleep. Good to see you. Thank you so much for coming in. There is one other thing. You have more? Snakes use the scales on their bellies to propel themselves. So, I'm not really sure that a snake can manage to climb up a flat bell cord like the ones in these cabins. Then it should try harder. Really? Please, don't be angry with me, Mr. Sholmes. The point is, even if the snake had gone through the ventilator to the next door cabin, it couldn't have come back without help. What I'm trying to say is that there are a number of reasons why it's difficult to imagine the snake could have had a part in this. I think we need to step in and help again, Mr. Naruhodo. Oh no, you don't mean... Yes, we need to modify Mr. Sholmes' latest deductions and turn them into the great ones they ought to be. I had a feeling that was coming. Alright, let's give it a try. Just what I was waiting for, Mr. Naruhodo. Yes, right. So, cast your eyes down to your wrists again. What? You've done it again. Your handcuffs are gone. Where did they go? Fear not. I shall see they're restored after our work is done. I really wish you'd leave them off. Now, everyone, let us begin. Sherlock Sholmes is proud to present his Logic and Reasoning Spectacular. Okay, here we go. Course correction. Hold it! Hold it, Mr. Sholmes! Hold it! Miss Pavlova, moments ago you claimed the following. His death has nothing to do with me. This whole thing has nothing to do with me. Yet you cannot deceive yourself. Yes, when you recall those horrid events, your aching heart smarts with pain. She does have a pained expression on her face. Yes, that's true. She looks as though Kazuma-sama's death is weighing heavily on her mind. But you're not sure Mr. Sholmes has read her quite correctly, is that it? Could there be some other way to interpret her expression, then? Let's take a moment and really look very closely at Miss Pavlova. Aching heart. Right ear. Left ear. Ah, claw scratch. I was thinking maybe it was her head, like she had a headache like everybody else, but... And then I thought maybe it was her wrist, because she was holding her wrist. But when I clicked here, there was nothing that came up. But I see it was on the back of her hand. Claw scratch. Yes! So there's something with claws. So there's another animal? Yes, when you recall those horrid events, that claw scratch smarts with pain. Indeed, and simple observation reveals that the wound is fresh. Miss Pavlova, did you in fact receive that scratch sometime last night? Ah! When I think about the young man who died next door, I feel so sad. And when I am sad, the pain from this wound is worse. Okay, that's kind of weird. And it is that very pain that evidences your inextricable link to the victim's death. So we ask, what was the nature of this intruder that stole into the victim's cabin on that portentous night? Why, naturally, it was the friend with which you boarded this vessel, was it not? Ah, as I suspected, another telltale glance. Without doubt, your friend is the writhing serpent we see before us. Or is it? Rat, cat? Something to do with that rat trap outside. Yeah. Maybe, well, yeah, it was a mouse trap. So there's another animal. It seems likely that the scratch mark on the back of Miss Pavlova's hand was made by this friend of hers, doesn't it? Except snakes don't have claws, do they? Oh, wait. Yeah, so T, I think you're right, because I think she set the mouse trap to get food for the snake. And then she got a mouse and it scratched her. No, they don't. They don't even have hands or feet on which claws might grow. Well then, if that snake isn't her pet, what is? What's the true identity of this friend of hers? Wait, so the snake isn't her pet? So where did the snake come from? We should follow her gaze, Naruhodo-san. That's where we find the answer. So, I think that is a cat in there. Teapot. So I think that's a cat in the picture. Wait, so I was right? Because I thought it was a cat in the first place.
Yes!
You were looking over at this framed photographic print, weren't you, Miss Pavlova? Makes sense. Yeah, but then they said the snake... I thought the snake was hers. Me too. Now I'm confused. Like, where did the snake even come from? Okay, so... like, when I saw the saucer, I thought it was a cat, but then the snake showed up, and I was like, oh, it's a snake? But now we're back to it being a cat. But I was right. Like, it was a cat. It was a lemur. I mean, you know, that was a good guess, I think. But let's not be distracted by the print itself. Oh no. It's the frame that is your friend, isn't it? Because it so beautifully displays whatever you put inside it. That deduction was wanting in every way. Yes, I was wanting you to hear it. I'm quite proud of it. I find myself wanting never to have heard it. I'm quite pained by it, but in fact. Oh, sorry. I'll try again. Oh, that wasn't it? We can be reasonably sure that Miss Pavlova's furtive glance was aimed at her friend. The same friend is probably responsible for the scratch on the back of her hand. We also know that whatever it is, this friend must be small enough to pass through the ventilator. That really ought to narrow it down. Let me scout around again in the direction she looked. Oh, I mean, I don't know where is she looking? Because I can't even see her anymore. Maybe it is like a mouse or a rat in the teapot? Because the teapot was empty. And it couldn't have been the sailor because it was something that fit through the vent.
Yes!
Yes, I know what you're thinking. What is this man talking about? Well, I'll tell you what I'm talking about. The truth. Yes, who could you have a more cozy relationship with than a shiny teapot? Okay, so that's also wrong. What spectacularly contrived logic led you to this mindless conclusion? Oh, well, it's supposed to be a logic and reasoning spectacular, so I thought I'd contribute to the show. This is my show, Mr. Naruhodo. Kindly perform any peculiar experiments on your own stage. Ugh, sorry. I mean, but where did she look? We can be reasonable sure. Okay, so we had that conversation. Was it not the picture? No, it wasn't. So I'm confused now. Maybe it was? It is the sailor? Because I can't think of anything else.
Yes!
Forget about how you could have brought him aboard in your case or how he could fit through the ventilator. A true friend always finds a way for you. And what more dependable friend could you ask for than Seaman Biff Stroganoff? What precisely was your intention with that, Mr. Naruhodo? Just following the natural progression of the deduction. Sometimes the truth hurts. Okay, so it's not... He's her accomplice. Bang. No, that's also wrong. So, I'm so confused. Well, the truth is you do not have a turn for observation or deduction. Did that hurt? Yes, a lot. I don't understand. There's like literally nothing else I can click on except for the snake. Did you save? I can't save now. The more I look at this creature, the more its stripes stand out. It's a very impressive snake, isn't it? Oh, yes, it really is. And it seems to be doing its best to squeeze this poor sailor's head until it bursts. We're down to the wire here, yeah. Yes, it's a terrifying sight and slightly heartwarming at the same time. Anyway, it'd probably be a good idea not to get too close. Oh, so I didn't know you could, like, examine things here. Oh, look at the photograph in this frame. Okay. That would have been a lot more helpful to know that I could, like, examine things before I presented them. This must be something Miss Pavlova brought with her when she ran away. She is exceptionally beautiful, isn't she? Oh, wait a minute. Look at that bell that the cat is wearing. It looks like the thing in the room with Kazuma. Yes, that's true. But personally, it's the little black creature she's holding that's caught my eye. Maybe we'd better take a closer look at this. Oh! Really? So you have to look at the picture and then present the cat.
Yes!
Without doubt, okay. The snake ate the cat. Can snakes eat cats? Oh man, it's been a really long time since I've saved. But I don't want to like lose all of those lives just because like I didn't know I could like investigate. Okay, well, you know what? We only lost about 10 minutes, so I'm gonna reload this one. And then we'll just skip through the other dialogue as fast as we can. Wait, you're in load, not save. Yeah, because I hadn't saved before that. So I'm just gonna skip through as fast as I can. Well, actually, this isn't that far behind. So we just have to go through his original deductions. Okay, but you know what? Oh, we don't even have to go through the original deductions.
Yes!
So we started from already correcting him. Okay, so it really wasn't that far at all. Okay, so we're gonna save here though. Okay, so I'm still confused as to where the snake came from. Okay, so... But first, I'm gonna examine the other stuff. I have a feeling that it was this teapot that Miss Pavlova's eyes flickered over to before. You think this is the friend she's been talking about? Well, we're all different, aren't we? Whatever we might say about it, if that's the way she feels, I don't think I'll say anything about it then. You and the teapot can discuss it instead. Wait, that's not what I meant. Okay, so, like, if I had known I could, like, examine stuff, then maybe I wouldn't have just been guessing all willy-nilly. There's no doubt, is there? She looked in this direction. Straight at Seaman Stroganov. Well, they do seem to be friends of sorts, but I can't imagine how he could possibly fit through that ventilator. Don't forget I managed to fit inside Kazuma's trunk when we first boarded the ship. I would ask what that proves, but I think an equivocal little smile would be more effective. The more I look at this creature, the more its stripes stand out. It's a very impressive snake, isn't it? Oh yes, it really is. And it seems to be doing its best to squeeze this poor sailor's head until it bursts. Yes, it's a terrifying sight, and slightly heartwarming at the same time. Anyway, it'd probably be a good idea not to get too close. Oh, no, I don't want to investigate the teapot. Victor. Okay, cat. Present.
Yes.
Without doubt, your friend is the little kitten we see before us. Yes, the scratch on the back of your hand makes that abundantly clear. The snake is probably a sailor's. Yeah, maybe. Oh no. The whereabouts of this black kitten isn't clear, but what is clear is that you brought the animal with you when you ran away, didn't you? Everyone breaking the rules of passage, I know, right? Darka is my best friend. I couldn't leave her behind. Darka would appear to be a Russian blue. And yet, that fact leaves us in a quandary. The victim's written observations on the night in question tell us of a speckled band. Whereas, regrettably, the specimen's markings do not fit that description in any way. What explanation can we then give, pray? What was the sight that fell upon the victim's eyes last night? No, don't look at me. This has nothing to do with any of this. Oh, but it does. You have the answer to this quandary even now, hidden behind your back. Yes, that which you are trying but failing to conceal can only be the snake's sloth skin. Did you see that? She just took something out of her pocket and hid it behind her back. If she just left it in her pocket, no one would ever have known. Oh yes, ploys like that are Mr. Shulm's specialty. He's ever so cleverly forced her to reveal something. I thought deduction was his specialty, or maybe making me believe that was a ploy too. Anyway, I find it hard to believe that's the skin of a snake. In which case, just what is Miss Pavlova hiding behind her back? What's she actually trying to hide? Is it like a cat toy? Snake sloth skin. Oh no, it is a snake skin. Okay, what is this? Well, it is speckled and it is band, but what is it? Seems to be soft and fluffy. A long piece of cloth of some sort. Oh, it is a cat toy. That looks like a handle at one end. I think it may be a cat's toy. This sort is common in the West, apparently. You may be right, a cat toy. Yeah. How's that a toy for cats? Cats like to chase the band around and paw at it. Kittens in particular love that sort of play. You only need to wave it in front of them, and they pounce to catch it. Haha, that sounds positively adorable. Oh, it is. Okay, so, it does look similar to a tail, though, like this part, and so I did think that the speckled band was like the tail of an animal, and so it wasn't, but it,
Yes!
you know, it's something similar. Like, it looks like a tail. Yes, the thing you are trying but failing to conceal is, a cat's toy. Precisely, and the true nature of the now infamous speckled band. Ah. And it was this toy that you dangled through the ventilator. You waved it around, I presume? Naturally, the victim could not fail to notice it. But why? For what reason? My dear boy, there can only be one answer to that. To get the cat back. After her feline friend disappeared through the ventilator into the neighboring cabin, Miss Pavlova attempted to use the speckled cat's toy to incite the creature to return. Ah. In summary, the nature of this friend of Miss Pavlova's, which last night infiltrated the scene of the crime, is a blithesome Russian blue breed of cat by the name of Darka. A truly troublesome feline young Darka is proving to be. She must be caged once found. You will forgive us for borrowing the photograph of your pet, Miss Pavlova. A photograph of Miss Pavlova and her friend, a kitten named Darka. The tiara she would wear on stage can also be seen. It was after I gave her her food last night. That's when it happened. She scratched the back of my hand and then ran up the bell cord. Before I could do anything, she had disappeared through the ventilator. Darka, she is so naughty. Moving on, we come to the heart of the matter, the grim demise of the victim. Okay, so I'm gonna save. It's a good spot to save at. So I'm wondering, since we already solved the mystery of the band, or maybe we didn't, maybe it'll come out that it was actually something else, but I think we did solve the mystery of the speckled band. So I'm wondering why this episode is called The Unbreakable Speckled Band. How did this young man lose his life, and why? According to the data of which I've been apprised, it would appear there were no visible signs of injury. Ah. In fact, the circumstances of the victim's death can only be explained by a terrible venom. What Mr. Sholmes says is true. There were no signs of a wound anywhere on Kazuma-sama's body. That's right, but Mr. Sholmes seemed to be unaware of one very important detail. Kazuma wasn't poisoned. Yes, it would seem so. Let's give him the information he's missing now. Okay, gotta give him the autopsy report. Kazuma is allergic to cats. And then that's how he died. But he had, his neck was broken. All right, before we do that, I'm gonna take a little break. I'll be right back. All right, so we've got to give him the autopsy report.
Yes!
In fact, the circumstances of the victim's death can only be explained by the post-mortem report. Ah, yes, I knew it was one or the other. Okay. His neck was broken. Indeed, the breaking of the cervical vertebrae is fatal. Only that Goliath would be strong enough to survive that. Seaman Stroganoff isn't some immortal freak, you know. The jury is out. Anyway, we have on good authority that the victim's neck was broken. Now, if we take that as fact, we can reasonably imagine that there remains evidence to affirm it at the scene of the crime. Oh no, could there be... Yes, an examination of the deceased body will prove the cause of death conclusively. Kazuma died because his neck was broken. In other words, he was probably struck by something or someone. Yes, that's a distinct possibility. As of yet, no weapon has been found, though. Presumably, Darka didn't silently creep up behind Kazuma and deal him a fatal blow. I suppose. It's possible that he had a fall and hit the ground awkwardly. It could have been a terrible act of misfortune that he broke his neck completely by accident. Oh yes, a bad fall could explain it. But then it doesn't explain the message that was written after he died. Okay, so I still think that somebody came into the room through the door and hit him with the statue. It's rather hard to believe a Kazuma-sama, though. So I think the cat being there, I think the, okay, what am I trying to say? Okay, so I think that the little glass object was the bell around the cat's neck, and it was there in the room, got scared, and... wait a minute. Okay, never mind. Let me come back to that. It's rather hard to believe a Kazuma-sama, though. He wasn't a clumsy man. Well, we need to fix this deduction somehow. Is there anything from the scene that could explain what happened? This. So he was dragged across the floor. Okay, well, we're gonna save first.
Yes!
Yes, an examination of the mark on the floor will prove the cause of death conclusively. This particular mark, so prominently visible next to the victim's body, is a deposit of shoe polish. Shoe polish? Indeed, positively identified by a little analysis device I constructed, which I carry now as a matter of course. Beeswax, tallow, and dye were my results. The undeniable ingredients of shoe polish. And the color of the polish is a perfect match to the color of Mr. Asogi's laced leather shoes. Looking at this mark, it's not hard to imagine what happened. For some reason, Mr. Asogi must have caught his foot at that point on the floor and tripped. Please, no. Oh, he tripped over the cat. And that's why the bell is there. And by a dreadful turn of misfortune, caught his neck against some immovable object as he fell to the floor. Wait a minute. Okay, so maybe he did trip over the cat, but that's not how he died. I mean, somebody had to come in and write the message. Suffering a fatal blow to the spine, the victim's vertebrae shattered, and in that instant, he lost his life. I don't know. I don't know anything about this. Is that really true, Miss Pavlova? What about the evidence left at the scene where Mr. Asogi lost his life? Yes, the facts are as clear as day to me. You did all you could to conceal the incriminating evidence. But now your involuntary glance betrays the hiding place you chose. That's right. You hid the evidence that links you to the victim's death in that traveling case. I don't believe it. Kazuma-sama merely tripped over and now he's no more? Can't be true. I refuse to accept it. Pavlova Def wrote the message. But why would she write wardrobe? I know it's hard to believe, but the mark on the floor does seem to suggest that's what happened. And if this part of Mr. Sholm's deduction is right, Miss Pavlova is trying to hide some evidence that would prove it. Here in this cabin, somewhere in the direction that she just cast her eyes. Where, I wonder? Let's have a good look around. The answer must be here somewhere. What has she been trying to hide? The tiara? Ah, somebody appears to have dropped 20,000 rubles here. It hasn't been dropped, Naruhodo-san. It's been placed. I'm starting to sound like Mr. Sholmes. Stop trying to sound like the great detective. This is where Miss Pavlova hid her friend. That's right. And it wasn't a snake after all. No, it was that little kitten she calls Darka. Not that it's anywhere to be seen now. It seems to have let itself out of the case and gone exploring. I expect it's wrapped itself around someone's head somewhere, trying to make a new friend. Either that or it's scratching their hand to pieces. The point is, where has it got to? Why? I haven't thought that far ahead. Okay. I think that he did trip over the cat, but that's not why he died. But that's why that little bell was there. This is a waste paper basket. Perhaps all the first-class cabins have them. But Miss Pavlova only started occupying this cabin late last night. Presumably there's not much rubbish in there yet. Oh, what's that? It's a broken piece of glass, isn't it? Yeah, that's the other half of the glass that was in, Kazuma's room. Yes, it is. And I feel like I've seen it somewhere before. If it looks familiar, perhaps it's more than your mind simply playing tricks on you. Okay, so it's the trash can. That's right, you hid the evidence that links you to the victim's death in that waste paper basket. Ah. Here we have a fragment of some intricate glass object, it would seem. One that has a familiar air, in fact. Precisely, we found another piece of broken glass on the floor in Mr. Asogi's cabin. And, as you can see, the two pieces fit together perfectly. Oh no. So, Miss Pavlova, shall we consider what this tells us? Why would it be that part of this glass object, which was evidently broken at the scene of the victim's death, should be found in the waste paper basket in your cabin? You're well acquainted with this glass bell, are you not? I don't know. And that hushed Russian accent of yours won't save you this time, dear girl. Why? Because we have conclusive evidence linking you to the bell in question. What? Take it away, Mr. Naruhodo. Yes. The evidence linking Miss Pavlova and the little glass bell, that would be... I mean this picture? Let's save before we present that. I mean, I'm pretty sure that's it. Okay, I'm just gonna finish up this little correction and then I'm gonna end stream.
Yes!
I think, yes, this is the evidence. Ahem, my dear fellow, that evidence deserves one of Miss Pavlova's trademark dismissals, I would say. Would you do the honors, young lady? What? How is that the wrong evidence? The picture, yeah, but it's wrong? Perhaps you would care to propose some other piece of evidence. The answer is really quite simple, but then there's nothing more deceptive than an obvious fact. Yes, okay. I'm gonna reload what I just saved. I mean, like, what else could it be, though? I don't know. I'm confused. Oh, maybe it's the Pavlova and Darka photograph? Oops. Wrong key.
Yes!
If you look at... Oh, this picture, did you mean, T? Okay, you were right. It was this picture. If you look at this photograph, you can clearly see, hanging from Darka's collar, the very glass bill in question. Going for a perfect run? Not really. I just want to make sure that I don't get too close to, like, running out of lives, because it's still pretty early in the case. The truth has caught up with you, Miss Pavlova. The young man who lost his life last night did so after a truly inauspicious fall. And the cause of that fateful stumble? Your absent feline friend, Darka. Yeah, that was the pic I meant. Okay. Yeah, you were right. I couldn't tell anyone. I'm sorry. Death by tripping over a cat. Why don't you tell us now, Miss Pavlova? Tell us exactly what happened last night. Okay, so we're gonna save there. Hey again, I'm back. How's this game going? Hey, Polybius. It's going good. I'm actually about to end, so I'm gonna end it there. So Polybius, I just got through a whole bunch of investigating and some deductions. But I'm gonna end it there. I did stop at like a cliffhanger because Pavlova is about to tell us what happened last night, but that means that you guys have to come back and see me if you want to know what happens. So, when will I be back? I don't know. Probably sometime this weekend. I'm not sure if it'll be like tomorrow or Saturday. It'll be one of those days though. But I am gonna end it there. Thank you guys so much for hanging out. Polyb, hope your run went well. Alright guys, yeah, thank you so much for hanging out with me tonight. This is a really good game. I like it. Although, I will say, so far at least, I like the Phoenix Wright games better, I think. But just so far, I mean, I'm still pretty early in this game, so who knows, I might change my mind. But as of, like, right this moment, I think the Phoenix Wright games are better. Although this is really, really good too. It's really fun. Cool, this was fun. T, I appreciate that. I'm glad that you had fun. Come back and see this next time to find out what happens next. And I will see you guys in the next stream or video. Bye.